And we're live.
You got hot sauce on your face, you mass disgrace, shoving that greasy ass food into your face, saying, we will, a motto. Sing it! Welcome to
Right on.
the fucked up beginning edition of Fans of Power podcast. I mean, it's going to get nasty as hell tonight anyway, but Joe insisted on, we're living, or that Joe, or Nathan needs to live like him for an evening here. So,
I didn't expect this, because Nathan said, and we're live, but he might not be in about 10 seconds because he said, Joe, I'm going to try that butter in Reese's Pieces that you were talking about. So you go ahead, Nathan, say what you just
I
did.
wish we could say we're doing this for charity or something, because for Nathan to do this voluntarily, like...
Yeah, paramedics are on standby.
Or some shit like that, that I can't afford, and Nathan needs this, for donations.
I'm just kidding about the reaction because I know he's going to love it.
If we're going to do this, show a nice spoonful of it before you,
nice.
vomit.
Oh, well, I mean, if let me just put, maybe I can, well, that...
I just see the Reese's Pieces in there.
Yeah, there's butter in there too.
God.
But I didn't put as much butter as Joe recommended. This madman says put a quarter of a cup of butter, right? And in my mind, I'm like, well, maybe that's not that bad. And Emily is like, that's half a stick of butter. I'm like, holy shit, no. I am not doing half a stick of fucking butter in a coffee mug to eat with Reese's Pieces. So it's still warm. If you want to try this recipe at home, quarter cup of butter, microwave it in a mug for 45 seconds to a minute, and then just go get you some, spend you $1. You probably get these at the Dollar Tree, right, Joe?
Yes.
For $1, you get you some Reese's Pieces and toss them in there.
I want a close-up of that bite, too. Get up nice and close. We see that butter dripping into it and everything. Oh, man.
And it's like oozing down his mouth.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. God, put it in your mouth.
Oh.
Tell you, I love it. You should have had a little more butter, but either way, that should be enough. What do you think?
Just kind of tastes like Reese's Pieces.
See, you didn't put enough goddamn butter. I told you should have put more butter then.
Yeah, but it's already like, you can feel the butter, like just the butter juices just.
But it's still good.
Coagulating in your mouth.
God, that's
good
gross.
combination.
Like Joe,
I'm not doing half a stick of butter.
What's that, Tyler?
I mean, I do like Reese's Pieces. Yeah, I don't know. I'm glad that if I put more butter in it, I probably would have hated it.
But you actually, I can see it dripping on that bite. There you go. All right, man. See, there you go. And just to let you know, Pride of Grayskull actually tried this because, I mean, he said, you know what? Honestly, not bad. See? So what do you think? Go ahead, marinate in your mouth.
Was he desperate for something to eat?
That second bite, not as good. Because now I'm getting that taste of, like, you microwaved butter in a fucking mug for 45 seconds.
I know. I said, when it's nice and hot, though, right out that microwave, pouring it in there, it's damn tasty. So there you go, guys. We start off the episode pretty bizarre.
But yeah, get up and say multiple shits during this episode. Like that.
Would not recommend. Would not recommend, Joe. You're crazy.
Well, you liked it on the first bite, and see, even Pride of Grayskull liked it. So
I'll give it a third.
Oh, third time's a charm. There we go.
I think yeah, I always got the handy dandy.
You know, put the whole box. I told you the whole box was supposed to go in with it. See, recipe.
I don't want to waste an entire box on this.
That's not wasted.
I think if you put enough in here with what I have, that it sucks up the butter enough. I don't know.
What show has shit like this going on? But look at Tyler's disgusted face. But
I think we have nothing better than like we have no.
No! I'm dumping this out. I will be right back. No.
Well, while you're
that's
dumping,
bad. No, that's bad.
I'm gonna dump.
I would rather do the nasty jelly bean thing again with you. I think. No. No.
Well, while Nathan's puking,
how the hell Joe sits around and comes up with this shit?
I have no clue. I just wanted to have something.
He opens up his cabinet. There's like a moth that comes out, and Reese's Pieces just sitting in the back. All it's in the fridge is like a stick of butter. Huh? I'll give it a shot.
See, that's pretty much it. Well, while he's puking, let me get to the chat room. We have Michael Purvis, Papa Hud 69, Pride of Grayskull, Zentron, Febmon, Adam Gabbert, Robert Burkhart. Hey, Robert, I think you're new to the channel. Eric Amon. Andy Yowzy. Grimbot's here. And Johnny Cock. Mr. Boylan. Jaime Mares. Ink Armor. Aaron Voorhees. Tough Nerd Toys, thank you for joining us. And now, and Patrick O'Keefe popped up. So, plenty of people. There you go. I think I got everybody.
Got a pretty good turnout so far tonight.
Exactly. And if I missed anybody, I apologize. So, yeah, that was a different way to start. And, well, Nathan, you can go from something bad to something good. Show us what
I mean, can we even really call that something good either?
Well,
something decent?
Well,
something decent at least. So,
something pretty cool.
We usually on Sundays do our grocery shopping and everything, and most of the time, the Kroger that we go to the Walmart that is close by, and you know, every time I go into a Walmart, Target, whatever, like I always check the toy section because you never know. And as I'm walking down, I just see off in the distance there's the Masterverse cardboard display. I guess some are on end caps, some of them they're just putting out in the aisles, but I saw that today. I took a glimpse at everybody and decided, I would say reluctantly, because it took me a few passes. I was like, should I? I don't know. I looked at it 2 or 3 times, but I went ahead, probably against my better judgment. Tyler would say that.
Oh, yeah.
And I picked up Moss Man.
He looks pretty cool. I got to see what he looks like outside of that package.
I mean, when these were announced and first shown, I seem to remember, I got to fix Tyler's camera here. I seem to remember that the general consensus between the 3 of us was that Moss Man was probably the best looking one out of the bunch that we got.
Yeah, at the time,
maybe.
yeah.
And that's how I felt. And I was like, well, if I see that, oh God.
He's gonna be sick.
If I see that in store, I will consider picking that up. So I went ahead and already opened up the top. I mean, do you want me to? The front was never anything to write home about.
I just want to see what the figure. Yeah, I want to see what the figure looks like.
Yeah, the back packaging is what it is. Uninspired, kind of.
Yeah, they haven't popped up around here yet because I've been waiting to get Moss Man too, but nothing's hit our area yet.
Hanging on there. So there we go.
It looks good. And any accessories or any? Could you show those feet up close? Those feet look pretty different. Yeah, that's cool. All right. Okay. Does he smell? I guess I never asked anybody. Does he have a fine smell? Oh, okay.
No, he smells like plastic.
Okay.
Plastic Man. Weight feels okay. It's not. I would say probably a little lighter than expected. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. Watch his arm just like pop off or something.
No, because I couldn't remember if there was excessive.
I mean, it kind of has the same, like, if you get Black Series or Marvel Legends, it kind of feels like that in your hand. Mm-hmm. Like, kind of light, but sort of, I mean, it feels sturdy enough. It doesn't seem like it's too cheap or anything.
Get a close-up on that
then
again real quick before you get them accessories.
Oh, yeah.
Just want to see what that... Yeah, okay. Oh, yeah, you got to do the hand to the back to make his face pop up clear.
Maybe.
Well, it hasn't done it yet, but either way, I mean, it still looks pretty cool. I can't... Oh, there you go. I was trying to see. His eyes are just pure white, right? There's no side eye look or anything?
No. Yeah, they look pure white from this standpoint.
Okay.
Yeah. And seeing these things in person, I would rank it like this. Moss Man, easily the best looking from that wave, then probably Evil Lyn. Just with the head that's on there, I didn't really look much with the one with the long white hair. And then, of course, He-Man and Skeletor in person somehow look worse to me. He-Man looks too happy, and Skeletor, just that peanut head-esque. Like, it just, the proportions on that look kind of strange, but... Yeah, so you get the 4 interchangeable hands, and then you got the long piece right there, which, actually, I'll probably just do that here on the show to see... kind of how that feels.
Kind of like his
with, like,
arm
balance.
turning into vines or something.
Well, yeah, just like balance-wise, like how that would kind of work with his arm there.
Okay.
Yeah, it seems like it would be kind of be all right.
Yeah, I mean, I think when I display him, it'll be without that. But either way, it's a cool accessory. But yeah, I definitely want to get Moss Man when I've well, when they pop up. But I think almost all Walmarts are starting to get them now, and people are even trying to get those displays early too, just like the other ones for Origins. So it's like, no, leave it. Like you figured, try to leave it be there for a while, but I'm sure they'll pop up eventually.
It kind of adds a little bit of weight, so you would have to really finagle with it a little bit more to display them if you want to go that route, because it is, especially you can see it kind of here, like in the joint, how it's automatically just wanting to like droop down.
I see what you mean. And eventually, if it's staying on the shelves for a while, I'm sure it would eventually then just boom topple forward. So yeah, I wouldn't play with it. All right, well,
but 19, I think it was 1982 was the price for these.
Really? Wait, they actually priced it at 1982? Seriously?
I think. I don't know. I'd have to. I think I left the receipt in the car. But
they must have did it on purpose. Okay. All right.
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
But not bad. I say, like, you look at it this way compared to what they've done on Big Bad with the light body. It seems a little bit darker than that, which I'm all right with.
Okay. All right. Well,
I feel like this would fit in way better with your 2000X collection than it would anything else.
It looks like it would. And not to be outdone, but first K-Mation and also Rebecca Cox and Brian Davis popped in. Thank you for joining us. I got some figures today of Master Universe. I got 5, in fact, so I splurged. I actually got some money in my pocket. And we start off with...
act as if like you...
Look at that! I got the mini He-Man. Dollar Tree finally started getting them. These little bastards are cool looking. I figured I'd open it right here live on the show, but I was like, damn, He-Man does look so much better than I thought, because it was only going to be in, well, it ain't going to work if I do the thing in back or whatever, but he does have a pretty good looking head sculpt and design. So there's He-Man. He looks cool as shit. Man-at-Arms is pretty much what you would, let me pop him. It's pretty much what you expect. Nothing super special, but there's Man-at-Arms, like I said. Has his mace. It's like, not bad. He's pretty cool. Sorry about the blurriness. Then there's Skeletor after I'm done ripping this shit. But I was surprised when I walked into Dollar Tree and seen him today, and whoop, there we go. Sorry. Skeletor. It's the paints maybe aren't as amazing as the others, but he still looks cool.
His harness and I mean the Havoc stuff looked terrible, like color wise on there. Or is it just your camera?
It's my camera. My camera's shit, but it's actually it is a good color, and
okay, because it looks very light, like a muted purple.
I think it's just my shitty ass camera, but that's to be expected. And then Merman, I think you guys already know what I'm doing because you already knew which one was my favorite looking of all of them. But then Merman's pretty.
Well, I mean that I know where you're going. That is the best looking
one
out of
all. Yeah, and here comes the best one. I was like, I had to get this. I can see people doing in scale stuff with maybe some other vintage stuff, but Orko really is cool as shit. You got to give it to him. That's about like the best looking one of the whole batch, but pretty damn cool. So yeah, I got my 5 today. Yeah. If you go to Dollar Tree,
fuck,
they should be there. And so that shocked me. You gonna be okay, Nathan?
Yeah, I think so.
All right.
During that whole showing off Moss Man, I feel like I was just zoning out because I think all that butter's just starting to clog everything in my body.
I hope you really don't get sick. Some people might not be able to tolerate butter as much as others, well, especially like me.
Or as you.
Pretty much. Yeah.
How do you do that? Half a stick of butter. Well, how often do you do that?
Well, anyway. No, that was it. Well, like I said, it was my first time trying that. I never had real butter with, real butter. So I tried it with that, and so I put that whole box in there. It was fantastic. Like I said.
So now this is when Joe gains 250 pounds.
I got to lay off some of the stuff, no doubt. But
next thing Joe's gonna be riding one of those motorized carts, in a Dollar Tree,
Yeah, shit, probably.
Yeah.
Bumping into people.
I'm good, I promise. But I don't think there was any other topical news as of late.
Well, Tyler's got something to show off.
Oh,
I do.
What?
I do.
Show and tell.
Yeah, you see, over this way, it's Christmas in July.
Oh, let's see that sucker up.
Nathan's mom came through in the clutch for all 3 of us here this past week, and if she's
cool.
watching, which I don't think she is at the moment, but if she goes back,
she probably is.
Well, I can't thank her enough for doing this. I really didn't think she was going to do it. I thought we were just bullshitting on the podcast, and by God, Nathan's like, "Well, you all got one."
Oh no, she showed up there before they opened. Like, she was waiting before they even opened and went in there and grabbed 3 of them. So, Joe, I'll mail yours out this week.
God.
Yeah, no rush. Tell her.
And it's big. It's bigger than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Which I'm sitting a little further back here. But it is a very detailed ornament here. Like, I'm very impressed with all the levels of details, like various little sections for you. Like, you could pretend like people. I mean, look at the details on this back, on the side over here.
I didn't expect the side and back shit and the vines.
Look at the spine in there. That was a nice touch.
That's cool as shit.
Yeah,
damn.
It's a beautiful sculpt here. So, if you guys are on the, I could see people picking this one up pretty fast. Because
they have been going
Skeletor,
crazy.
So if you get a chance, I mean, get out to Hallmark right now, wherever it's at, or order online. I got a feeling this beautiful piece. I told Nathan I'll have this, and Erica got me a couple of other ornaments to treat. So I'll be actually putting my tree up for the first time in like 3 or 4 years this year. So
that is cool as shit.
Yeah, it's an absolutely beautiful ornament here.
I gotta wait until Christmas actually to get mine. Because that's how
tradition.
Mom is when it comes. Yeah, when it comes to the Hallmark ornaments, that's always the stocking stuffers. So I'll have to wait a few months, but whatever, it'll be worth the wait. And Joe, I'll get yours out in the mail.
Again, appreciate it. Till I pay her back $1 a week for 25.
Oh my God!
PayPal.
There's no way.
She'd be insulted if you tried to pay her back.
Yeah, probably.
That's just her personality.
But those have been selling like
20 months. 20 months just to get paid back for a $20 ornament?
20 weeks. But anyways, in all
20 months.
Yeah.
20 years?
Weeks. In the groups, everybody has been buying, like I said, multiples of those to hook up their friends and everything. So those things are selling super.
Not buying the scalp on eBay because,
No. The groups, I mean, they're getting it for their friends, which is nice because everybody's like, give me one. And you know what's funny is by them showing a picture, they showed something that I thought looked cool as shit. They had a giant shot of all those ornaments, and next to it was a Super Nintendo with Super Mario World in. I was like, oh, that looks fucking awesome. That's the Hallmark ornament this year. Last year, I guess they did a regular Nintendo with, Super Mario. But, yeah, Super Nintendo, Super Mario World. Like, that looked bad as shit. But
my mom had actually suggested that I wait as long to send you that ornament like you did sending my book.
Hey, whatever works. And she's here. Hello, Mrs. Candy. How you doing? I appreciate it. Thank you very much for that ornament. And I like that suggestion. Yeah, he could do that. He could make me wait till Christmas.
I'll ship it out tomorrow or Tuesday just so you got it.
Okay. All right. Well,
we can't thank you enough for doing that for us. That was a real genuine surprise. Like, holy shit.
Yeah. And if just kind of quick sidetrack here, if you guys are wondering exactly who that is on Tyler's screen in the corner of his, that is Tyler's favorite G.I. Joe of all time. This is Scoop. Scoop was always there to kind of document the other Joes and make sure. Wasn't Scoop, was he government issued or was he originally sort of like a Cobra spy? You want to talk about Scoop a little bit there, Tyler?
Fuck.
He is your favorite after all.
He's a loss for words. What's so bad about this guy?
I don't. He's watching in the Deke series. He was a little bit more like, wow, they're actually kind of doing something a little bit more. And I'm not one of those people. I'm typically one of those people. I love every character in every line, from He-Man, She-Ra, Brave Star, G.I. Joe, Thundercats, Turtles. It's really hard for me to say someone sucks in any line because I'm just that embracing of all characters. But Scoop was just such a goof, mainly because of the face. I was telling Nathan before, like, playing with him as a kid, like, I would only use him. He was my brother's. Like, I sure as hell wasn't picking him out. He picked him out. My brother picked him out. And I'm like, I need a hostage for Cobra to kidnap so the Joe can come in and, and save somebody. So Scoop was always the guy that had his hands behind his back and always being punched in the stomach, punched in the face with his Steve Gutenberg face. If I needed a hostage, Scoop, 100 out of 100 times, was always my one hostage. Just because I had to have somebody for Cobra Force to beat the shit out of. What's that?
I mean, was he in the cartoon too, or just the toy?
In the Deke series, when Marvel Productions and Sunbow were no longer doing it, and Deke picked it up, he was actually in like the opening like mini series when they bring Cobra Commander back to life from the movie and everything. Scoop is one of the more like prominent characters in the opening miniseries, which I was kind of surprised to see because I had never saw it. I saw like episodes that were a little further on in the series, so it was kind of shocking to see Scoop like used in a prominent role as like a potential spy for Cobra. Which he's not. I couldn't remember because it's a very difficult series to sit down and watch. But yeah, I guess Nathan thought it'd be cute and fun for people to see Scoop, as my border here, and people wondering, well, I guess Tyler really likes Scoop. Fuck no, I don't.
Do you want him on a T-shirt?
I want to make that clear. No, I don't want him on a T-shirt.
Put him on a shirt, Joe.
No,
put him on a shirt.
With some shitty witty ass like got Scoop or some shit like that. Because everyone has to be trying to be fucking funny. Like you can't go anywhere, you can't buy anything without someone. I gotta be witty. I gotta be funny, man. We gotta put something on there that says, "So, you got me on that one."
Would Scoop be to you how Stratos is for Joe? Was that a fair comparison?
Figure-wise.
What?
Because I hate Stratos as a figure, the vintage figure.
I guess so. Like, because I had nothing really positive to say about Scoop. Like, maybe his card art is not bad, but you look at that goofy ass face of his, like he just sucked. Even as a kid, I thought he sucked.
I'm gonna get you one complete for Christmas.
Why would you want to waste that kind of money on something like that?
So you can, because you're doing displays with the Joes that you have now, and you can just have him getting run over or something, or like just.
I'll have Rope taking a center block stick and like smashing him over the head with it or something like that.
There you go. Yeah, you can kind of have his helmet sort of halfway off his head and kind of have him
like giving him a right hook. And Power Rush coming in with the left hook. Like you just having the shit beat out of Scoop.
I feel like I have to.
No, you don't. Give me a crystal ball complete or something like that.
I don't think Michael from Retro Blasting would enjoy that too much. By the way, did you watch his Bionic 6?
Yes, I did watch that. And I was staying silent because I'm like, I don't know when to respond to him about that, or like when I mean,
well, put it out there now. Put it out there now. We can tag him. We can time code this and be like, "Hey, Michael, check this out. Here's Tyler's rebuttal to your Bionic 6 Part 1 review that came out. Was this yesterday? That came out or the day before?
Friday, I think it was Friday because I was laying in bed. I think when it was airing live before I went to sleep. So I actually stayed. I caught it like a little under halfway through, and then went back and rewatched the whole thing. And he's definitely he's not happy with.
Is he allowed back on the show?
Of course he is. Like I get, in all seriousness, like what Michael says about a lot of the shows. I mean, most stuff cannot be argued. There are things about Bionic 6 that when I watch it, yes, that why the hell are the vehicles flying? I don't know. It doesn't make sense. The whole like superhero secret identity thing, like that's mythology you buy into with anything else. We buy into it with He-Man, we buy into it with Superman. You just have to just buy into that suspension of disbelief. But things he points out about the show, like, that's his take on it. I don't, it doesn't make me feel like, what an asshole. I'm going to go after him. I'm sending a private message. Like, I want you to go kill yourself. Take a double-barrel shotgun, shove it up your ass or something like no. Michael's still cool as shit in my book. But, he didn't give any praise to like Glove, or what you call him, like the Starscream, archetype, which he is. But
do you think he'll save that from episode 2 when he does the second part or something? Maybe he'll.
The second part would be about the toys. That's the video.
Oh.
Yeah, he'll do a review on the cartoon, and then he'll do a review on the toys separate. And he always releases them separately. The toys are fantastic. Like I really have a hard time believing he's going to say something, but I could see him saying, doing that whole Michael French, kind of confused look that he does. If you watch his videos, he has that look that he makes. Which I'm going to call it the French face or something like that.
The French face.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So if he sees us, I want him to know, like, because I'm sure we've been asked to do something with him. Hopefully, when Iconicon is over with, and
kind of looks like dude from Third Rock from the Sun. Why am I saying?
French Stewart, Michael French Stewart. There you go. How about that? Yeah, marquee. But I mean, he made
now he won't come on our show because we made comparisons.
Yeah, he's doing his Michael French Stewart impression there. But I mean, he makes points. I'm like, I can't argue in terms of the logic, but some children's shows were given a lot more logic than others. But when I watch Bionic 6, I fucking love it. Like I even talked to.
Oh, he's actually in the chat right now.
Oh, is he now? Really? Holy shit!
Yes.
Well,
He said, "I love you, Tyler, despite our differences.
yes,
I will not fight you, Bucky."
Bucky. If anything,
So that
I'm
makes
Captain
Bucky.
he makes him Captain America, huh?
Oh,
And you're
yeah,
Bucky.
man.
Wow. There you go. How about that?
No. If you want to come back to be the Winter Soldier and try to take me on, I'll give you that one. But but yeah, Michael, I did enjoy it. I gave you a like on the video, of course.
I did as well.
Yeah, I don't, and I enjoy Michael's reviews on a lot of shows, even though I may disagree on some points, but there's some stuff like I get his perspective on it, and that's where I'm like, people are so quick to come after him, or even a few people come after us about stuff like he's got credentials. He says a lot of things that we all agree with, and I really like to have him on here at some point. After this shitty new cartoon comes out and the backlash that people may get when they say they don't like it, because they'll just like anything. I really want people to see that video that he did that emphasizes like people will trash the old stuff to salvage the new shit. Because if you see anybody pointing out the problems, like real problems, then you hate it, or you're a hater, or you're a toxic person, or you're stuck in the past, or oh, your little butt hurt, some shit like that. Like I can't stand seeing that shit when people are upset over unnecessary changes in mythology. But all in all, I enjoyed his Bionic 6 video. When we do our hopefully we do our Red Sonja retrospect with him, I'm going to be wearing my glove Bionic 6 tank top, so that way everyone sees I'm giving him a right here, buddy. I'm letting you know I'm bringing it on with you live here. So I may be spoiling that surprise, but I'm just letting you know it's coming, and hell's coming with me. You hear? But I look forward to seeing his figure review and much more else. That Iconicon, they put out some fun stuff, and I hope they'll do it again next year, and maybe we'll get invited to do some shit on there. Maybe just kind of forcing our way in there and says, guys, I don't take forced invitations. I have to genuinely want to invite you. Much like how he says he won't give me a forced apology and $500. He needs to voluntarily and want to give me a genuine apology and $500 for shitting all over Bionic 6. So I'm going to sit casually through the rest of this episode. Maybe something will pop up on my phone. Maybe I'll get a notification from PayPal. I got $500 and a written apology on the way. Maybe even a public apology. We don't know. We'll find out soon enough, people. But Rebecca is still loving Bionic 6. She even plugged into one of the events that she did on Iconicon. So, Michael, you can't stop it. There will be no more sins on 6. I'm telling you that. I'm stopping that shit right now. But I'm glad he's in here, and I look forward to I'm putting out. Michael, you want to come back and join us next month in August or something like that? Letting you know we'd love to have you back. We can do like a Ninja Appreciation Night or something like that.
Well, he already said you will be invited. Our planning was too far along this year before I met you awesome guys. So
how about that, guys? You heard it here first.
We promise no food reviews. I'm still like, the butter has like it's coated the roof of my mouth in a way that I don't think any other food that I've eaten has done in my entire life.
Like when you eat like powdered donuts, like the white powder, and like the white powder would stick to the roof of your mouth. I haven't eaten that shit in years because I don't like white powdered donuts, but
I don't know. It's just done something strange to my mouth, and I know that it's just butter. And it's not like Emily doesn't cook things with butter, and it's not like I haven't
eating a melted stick of butter on anything, let alone candy.
Yeah. It's usually mixed in with tons of other things, and instead I'm like, well, yeah, let me just melt this in a mug and just pour chocolate candy, or chocolate coated peanut butter candy in it.
Excuse me.
Well, you'll be all right.
It's like my mouth is dry. At the same time, too, no matter how many sips I take, like my mouth is just dry.
It'll go away. Don't worry. But
you're a monster.
Now you got Tyler choking on his water.
Water because it goes down wrong.
Well, you know how you were sitting there. No, you're fine, man. You're fine. No, but like how you're sitting there sometimes saying people will shit all over the old stuff while propping up new things, or however it may be. Well, that's something about the MYP cartoon that did not happen. They didn't shit all over Filmation to promote MYP. They just released it as it was. People loved it. But there was one part of MYP that didn't sit well with a lot of fans. Me and Tyler in particular, but a lot of others. And that was King Grayskull. Now you can picture again as a kid, you're sitting there, you're starving for Hero. You seen you got a taste of Hero from the Powers of Grayskull. And if you've seen things in, some of the books and catalogs about upcoming figures and how he would have been part of that, and just knowing his backstory, when MYP came and you knew there was going to be an episode about something in the past of the Powers of Grayskull, you're like, oh my God, we're going to get it. We've been waiting all these years. I remember getting chills because I didn't do spoiler shit, so I didn't know if there was. I didn't even know if there was synopsis to get things ahead of time.
I remember too. There was a synopsis released for every episode, and there were no spoilers, and except for like one may mention a certain character was featured, like the Snake Pit mentioned Zodak, so we knew Zodak was going to be in it. But
so there was no spoiler for this episode, then, right?
No, it says we will learn the origins of Castle. And I remember thinking, oh my God, like I remember reading this on He-Man.org on the forums back in 2002 or 2003, maybe at the time when it came out, and just was, oh my God, like, are we going to get Hero?
Picture it.
Hero?
What he just said. He's okay. So Tyler, like you said, you just found out there were no spoilers. So just the thought of, oh my God, he's coming. He's coming. And then when we seen this character that not that kind,
someone's gonna take that, and someone's gonna take that and splice that audio.
Yeah, he's coming. He's coming.
Change up
different. Yeah, he's gonna come on you like no one's ever come before. I want you to
I need to send Joe. I need to send that to Joe. The wrestling promos out of context.
Yeah, he did. I looked at it. I did look.
Joe was like, "Yeah, it's great."
Like, no, I watched.
That's it. That's all you had to say.
No, it was cool. But like I said, so we thought here is going to be Hero. And you see this different guy look just, it was like He-Man, but bigger and buffer. I was still thinking, okay, but is Hero going to still pop up in the show? Are we going to get him? And no, it was just this new character, King Grayskull. And he was a bigger He-Man, longer hair. And instead of having a tiger, he has a green lion. It's like you couldn't give him any other kind of mount. I mean, is there anything has to be so more similar, but it just felt like it was just the laziest fucking origin you could have pictured. I mean, with Hero, you had the most powerful wizard in the universe. That could at least changed up the dynamic to look different and feel like a whole completely different character. But you had a character that was basically, it's like He-Man in the past, but bigger. Nothing was special to it. He had his moment where you found the power. I will give one thing. At least, okay, understand, the power of Grayskull came from him. As he died, all of it transferred into the Council of Elders and then the sword. And then, but when the day comes, the person who will stand up and get that sword, it was going to go from him, and eventually here comes He-Man. I'll give just a part of an origin, but otherwise, I just hate it. It was the laziest new design, and you just heard what I said, laziest new design you could have imagined. He was not the character we were waiting for. It should have been Hero. And as you've seen, when Classics came, they fucked Hero over even more, in which it made no sense. It's like Hero has never gotten his due. He never had his time to shine. And it was a really fucking... It was an angry time for fans, especially when you were anticipating finally we were getting Hero, and we didn't get him. We got this guy. I'll pass it to Tyler, and we'll get to other stuff later, but go ahead.
I'm not sure where to begin here without... people who've been with us a long time have heard me rant and rave about this piece of shit character. I'll even listen to Val Staples on Roast Google, ask Dean Stephan who created the character, and told him it was lame. Right there. Go back, go around and dig it up on one of their episodes when they interview him. So it was good to actually hear. I mean, he wasn't mean or rude because him and Dean were buddies, but it was good to know that someone in the know was it's one of the most unoriginal ideas that's ever been done with He-Man, and it was so unnecessary. Even so much, and I've said this before, I'll say it again, is that they weren't sure if Mattel at that time were even aware of Hero because they were under new management and everything like that. So when him and Emiliano were doing the Shard of Darkness MV Creations comic, they threw him in a Hero cameo, and the brand manager, I think at that time over 2000X, saw it and told him, "Oh, I see you threw Hero in there," which validated that Mattel was aware of Hero, but they just, I guess, chose not to acknowledge or pretty much just ignore or forget this whole unbelievable level of potential with a backstory that was not duplicating, was not copycatting. It was an all original, interesting idea that me and Joe have talked about countless times in this podcast. We can't tell you which episodes. We've done a few that are specific to it, but so much potential out of just that one mini comic, the box art for the Giants and Hero and the dinosaurs, and it's all been ignored. And to this day, it still continues to be ignored. I don't give a fuck that he's showing up in this new Rob David. By the way, Rob David is the Kathleen Kennedy of Master of the Universe right now. If anybody's wanting to know why I'm ragging on that guy, because that's the kind of bullshit that asshole is doing, much like Scott Knightly and Kevin Smith. They're a trifecta of Kennedys, is what they are. Bad Kennedys.
No relation over
No
here,
relation
by the way.
over
I want.
they're a trifecta of Kathleens.
Keep me out of
They're
it.
a trifecta of KKs. There they are.
Oh no.
Ah, fuck.
No.
Oh well.
No.
Bad taste joke. I'm not having edited it out. This is a shitty joke. Anyway, I don't want to imply that the guy's a racist, something like that. But, it was just, it was so insulting to think that we were going to get Hero and we get this very, very lazy, like, Hero is not the first He-Man. He is the reason why He-Man has the power that he has there. And Dean didn't seem to get that concept. Scott Knightly sure as hell didn't give a shit about that concept. And Mr. Rob David and Kevin Smith and all those other jerk-offs who are putting together this amalgam of dog shit, animated series that's just, we're pulling from this and pulling from there. And, I think it's kind of cool that Kevin Smith has pretty much stayed, silent since all that stupid shit he's put out, where he's, I'm a big fan since it came out and blah, blah, blah. Like, they're not having to do any more hype videos anymore. So hopefully they just said, shut the fuck up, man.
Because it's sad what we didn't get. Because just imagine, we didn't get the real powers of Grayskull issue 2 and 3, and it makes you think. Because remember, Hero did not have a power sword, so how would the power sword really have come to be if we still got those issues 2 and 3? Because guaranteed, it wouldn't have been like we got in Classics, where it's the overlords of Trala that created a sword of He that gives to Hero. It's like, oh my, I hated that. And of course, they kept running with that shit. And then this new cartoon / comic, again, it's not having anything to do with Hero having the power. And even King Grayskull, as you'll find out later, does not have the power come from within him. It's like just the laziest, shittiest, stupidest ways and origins for these swords and powers. It sucks. And Hero, just because now what we've seen is happening in this new comic, and obviously what you might get in one episode of a cartoon, Hero still has gotten nothing. He still has not got a proper, real bio and origin. I hate that.
And these guys are not, no one's, and I guess obviously there's just no one in a position to actually call them out, because I know they don't listen to this podcast. We don't, we're not reaching stratospheres where people in pop culture are going to be like, aware of what, 3 guys in their homes are saying about them. But it's just unfortunate that no one is actually, there's no checks and balances, because obviously there's not enough people in power who do give a shit about this property because of all the goofy ass decisions, and keep hiring people who are just trying to use it as their own personal fucking sandbox, like Scott Knightly did. I hate to keep harping on this stuff, but everything that's happening in the last, since the 20-teens, it's all been Scott Knightly, right, making up shit, and Mattel telling people you got to keep adapting it, you got to keep using that, and then DC comes along with their bullshit, making up new stuff. Like, no one is actually going back and looking at all this potential from all these various canons that all kind of follow the same template, and they're all just saying fuck that. It ain't about staying in the past. It's about we're constantly championing quality. That's why we keep harping on the mini comics and Filmation, the live action film, the Golden Books, various other things that have been done. Yes, NYPD gets some things right, quite a few things right, but they seem to be going back to the shit that, like, why do you keep going back to King Grayskull? Why aren't you putting emphasis on Tuvar and Badger? Too Bad before they became Too Bad. Why aren't you doing that? You're not doing that. You're making references to this style of character from 2000X. They're not pulling out like the faceless one. Why is there no mention of the faceless one? No, we're gonna make fucking Scareglow the damn devil. Like all is just constantly just trying to, I couldn't imagine if someone liked my ideas in He-Man and said, I want to put you, you have no writing credentials, no background, but I like your ideas. I'm going to put you on Superman. Like, are you kidding, man? I'd fuck that book up left and right, man. Like, I'm not qualified to I like the character. The movies are cool too, but I'm not qualified to read Superman. Like, I couldn't do that. And that's what I feel like they never seem to get anybody who gets not only Sword and Sorcery, but clearly understands why this property is still popular with fans all these years later. It's like they're quickly forgetting the ideas, the concepts, the badass characters, the heroes, the villains, even the stories themselves. There's been books written about how good the animated series is, like reasons why we celebrate Granomir Shakoti. It ain't just because it's the cool trendy thing and it's trending on fucking TikTok and shit like that. It's because we kept it alive on. What are you shaking your head for there, Nathan?
It's just, It's just funny sometimes when
I know it
you're
sounds
over
like
here
an old man on
talking.
my porch, don't I?
Yeah, I know when
Yeah.
you're trying to talk about hashtags and
Well, because
TikToks.
I hate all that stuff. Because most people just
There's
dancing
Zima and there's Dan
Vogelbergs and Zima,
Fogelberg and they're.
Pac-Man video games.
That's what it sounds
It
like.
is,
to me
but
when
you know what?
start
I don't
going on
mind
that rant.
sounding like that too, because when I see what people's attention spans are coming to, that they have to dance to a really bad video and want to put on social media so they see it, I'm like, fucking losers.
I mean that all boils down to just how I mean that plays a role in it with just how short everyone's attention spans are when it comes to social media stuff, jumping from one thing to the next, but also how everyone interacts with everybody. It's instantaneous. Anyone has their own opinion. It's like us having the show, but anyone could go on Facebook, Twitter, hashtag this, or go into someone's mentions on Twitter and just like dogpile the shit out of them. Like wrestling fans are, I feel like, worse at this than any other fandom I've seen in recent memory, because wrestling fans are some of the worst human beings, at least behind their phone or a keyboard.
Yeah.
That it's horrible. I look at that shit all the time. I'm like, everybody's wasting all their time with this
And
shit. But no, go ahead.
I see it in our community too. You know, Michael gets attacked a lot. Joe's got goofy ass remarks. You know, occasionally someone will say something about me, not too much though. But I check out of like a lot of social media. Like I don't read it, as I've told people before, for the most part. So I try not to.
There was an article. I think it's what's the website? Is it CBR? I saw some link
Resources?
to it where. Yes, that
website.
someone
They're
had.
the ones that come up with all the shitty top 10 reasons why He-Man sucks.
Well, hang on. They put out an article where it's like Skeletor's ancestors reveal, and they use the part where King Grayskull is making the deal with Scareglow and saying, this kind of looks like Skeletor. I'm like,
God.
well, you have clearly done absolutely no research at all. So this goes out to other people, and people read that and interpret it in their own way as well.
This is the shit that bothers me. And this is times where I wish our podcast had a longer stretch, because I know people who know nothing about He-Man are going to see shit written by these fucking morons who know nothing of He-Man, and will just put it out there because they got to get their clickbait bullshit out there. And this is what the casual fan who's looking for something to follow now, or like, you know what, these characters look pretty cool. Oh, there's a new series coming out, and this is what they're going to be exposed to. They get the shitty new comic book. They're going to see the shitty new series where all the voices are lame and weak and pussified, and they're going to see all these characters like, you know, flip-flopped around. You know, it just comes off more like an agenda show more than anything else, as opposed to an ensemble cast of great heroes, male and female, and great villains, male and female, coexisting, all fighting for different purposes, all but to protect one particular thing. I mean, it's just... But we're getting off topic here about King Grayskull, though. But it's...
King Grayskull.
But just... I will say this. The fact that they made him black is irrelevant to me. The fact that they put him at the forefront of such an... like, okay, you're doing it again. Like, it's already been established. Why? You know... And of course, we all knew they were lying anyway when they said they're going to do a show that ties back to Filmation. Like, we're not fucking stupid, but you know, the people who don't know anything.
Spiritual successor, Tyler. Come on now.
Yeah,
you remember watching when Joe and I did our comic book review.
But Joe was fortunate enough to speak to some people before earlier this week, and I was so glad that some fans reached out to Joe about this, because and I'm gonna let Joe share this because this was really important stuff here. And it was just a point that I'm like, I'm glad they said it, because I don't know how I would have been able to convey it, but these gentlemen said it perfectly. And Joe, I want you to praise the hell out of these gentlemen that reached out to you privately and share what they had to say about not only King Grayskull, but what these lazy fucks decided to do with the character anyway.
Well, as you've seen, King Grayskull now is black, and as you said, I don't care. I don't care if he's black, Italian, Mexican, white. I don't care what race, what he is. It doesn't matter to me. But I woke up to three of my friends on Facebook, all of whom happen to be black, who were enraged because they were saying, and one of them reached out to one of the people working on the new cartoon, that Ted Biaselli or whatever his name is. One reached out to him to say, why are you race swapping? He said, I would rather have a brand new character, or build up, existing characters that are already in the mythology of Masters that are black, build them up. He said, getting this character feels like I got some hand-me-down clothes instead of new clothes. My other buddy, who is Tough Nerd Toys here in the chat room, who has his own channel, and his name's Danae. Danae said it felt like it was a half-eaten sandwich instead of being a fresh sandwich. He was like, what is the problem? Why can't we get new black characters or bring up the established ones? And Ted reached out back to him because Tim's quote was put on every YouTube channel you could think of. Everybody was showing the quote of what Tim said and how Ted responded to him. And just to try to defend the reason why they did it just seemed asinine, especially like when they came to Lieutenant Andrew. Again, I don't care that they took Lieutenant Andrew and made her from white to black, but Ted actually said, one of the guys that's working on the new cartoon said, we were going to make a new female black character, but decided against it because we didn't think anybody would really know who she is. So we just decided, well, let's take Lieutenant Andrew and make her black. And then again, everybody was jumping on saying, well, why are you saying that new female black characters or any new black characters wouldn't get attention and wouldn't be embraced? You know they'd be embraced. Look at how the Masters of the Universe community and Princess Power community has always been. It's always been about diversity of men and women and people of all races. And at no time when we were growing up did we ever complain. Did we complain about Clamp Champ, Natasha, Geldor,
no.
Prince Daikon, anybody? It's like, no, we championed and said, well, of course, everybody's fucking awesome in this universe. We never complained once. And here's the other sad thing. I showed in that group, it was Shadow Weaver's realm, because I was beckoned there. I haven't posted there in a long time, but when this happened, my friends beckoned me there. I went there and looked, and I was reading the articles, and Ted had an exact quote, and this isn't being misread or misquoted what I'm saying. He said, there's never been any black females in Masters of the Universe. That was his exact quote. Any. And I said, okay, now you just turned on Joe because I'm going to sit here and I'm going to load the knowledge. You just hit the button to turn me on. I'm going to give it to you. And I kept it respectful, though. I was like, okay, well, you could have took Prince Daikon and Merman. You could have had them a side-by-side, badass husband and wife team fighting together. Both who are black, a black man and a black female. Bam, had them together. Didn't do that. Now, when I was doing this, just to let you know, I never said it sarcastically. I was basically enlightening, saying, if you said this, I was kind of trying to show him, hey, I didn't want you to look like you were misinformed. So I showed him that. And then I was going to talk about Queen Belina because, yes, even though she was bad in her episode, you could tell she was seeing the error of her ways. But even beyond that.
You don't have to defend it because Garn is a good guy. And so,
exactly.
But to piggyback what you said there, I love what Roy Thomas said about introducing characters of ethnicity in his comics back in the 70s, because he said the idea of saying that one race is evil is ridiculous. There's evil in every race. There's evil white men, there's evil black men, there's evil Hispanic men. There's also good black men, good Hispanic men, good Asian men, good white men. Like it was a ridiculous idea.
Well, what happened is when I brought up Queen Belina, sure enough, one person would say, "But she was bad in the episode," and then I brought this up.
Did someone say that?
Someone did. So then I came back to say, well, here's the thing. And I came back to say, Evelyn's evil. Beastman's evil. And don't you see that they're good now and they're teaming up with the heroes? So my point was, good or bad, they can still make her good. So I was going on a roll. And then Malactha is the biggest character I've championed for years. Because as you know, it's the first custom carded figure I ever made. I always wanted a figure of Malactha when I was a kid. Still haven't got a Malactha figure, which is fucking unbelievable. I can't believe it's been made. But I said, what would you rather have? This quick little one shot where you know they're not going to focus on King Grayskull at all, or have Malactha, somebody that has the entire knowledge and history of locations, artifacts, ancient languages, deciphering texts, somebody that invents stuff. And I'm sure, as you see with all characters, they could make him battle if he had to. Wouldn't you rather have him in like 6-7 episodes helping out the heroes, finding out what's going on in the past, and fighting side by side, not as a one-shot character that's off to the side, or somebody you want a prominent character, and Malactha would have been perfect for that. And then you've seen in this new comic, okay, they made King Grayskull black, but they didn't make him more powerful. They actually made him weaker. And that's what pissed off the black community, is unlike MYP's King Grayskull, who is white, and the power came from him, this King Grayskull, the new one, does not have the power come from him. He has this sword, and eventually is to make a deal with the devil, being Scareglow, for this ore that he's going to forge into another half of the sword that, when put together, is the new power sword. They made him less. It's like, so they were pissed. They're like, oh, you gave us this character, but you made him weaker than the white one? It's like, did anybody see that? And also, he has 2 kids. He has Ro and Dare. Ro, that'll become Hero. Dare, who, we'll go on about that. Dare
It's supposed to be
spoilers, deceased from the Orlax
And-
because it touches, actually, and then you go into a coma, but it's not poisonous, and it's in your mind, and that comic sucks.
Orlax bullshit. It sounds like some sort of made-up STD or some shit like that. It's
But
just
one quick
fucking
more
stupid.
one quick more thing. Ro is white, Dare is black. Which kid do you think they killed? They killed the black one. They killed Dare. So it's like, again, what are you doing? It's like, we're going to try to make this diverse. And look what we did. Yeah, you made this King Grayskull weaker than the white one, and then you killed off the black son. And that pissed off the black community of Masters of the Universe fans. And also all Masters of the Universe fans thinking, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? So if you were wanting the true characters we've always had that have been great, bring them to the forefront. Or yes, you could have created new ones. Or if you were doing the King Grayskull thing, make him just as powerful as the MYP one or more powerful. But they didn't. It's like, so the community has lost their shit wondering, what did you do this for when it didn't do anything to make anybody happy?
And their logic for what you just said too, none of it makes sense. The whole Lieutenant Andrews, like, you didn't think anybody would appreciate a brand new character, so you pick out a really, really obscure character from an obscure issue of Star Comics who hasn't and was made up for that issue, and you pick that character.
90% of the fans wouldn't even know her. You're right. It's like,
Yeah, I'm like, only that's why I was surprised to see that. I thought, okay, they're going really detailed. Maybe that's something positive. No, they're just fucking stupid. And then when you said the reason, you give the quote of their logic as to why they chose to make King Grayskull black. I don't know who should be more insulted on that one. I kind of feel like black fans should definitely be more insulted because it shows you how fucking lazy the people behind this show and their logic about you don't get diversity. These people clearly don't get the reason behind it. You know, when you pick up a mini comic from the original run of He-Man, you know, it's there. And you know what? It's not like, look what we're doing here, people. It's there. We accept all these races. It's all right, Joe, I'm going to ramble here and just kind of go into nowhere here.
I know exactly what you're saying, though. Again, we never complained about anybody's race or gender for Masters of the Universe, Princess of Power when it came to the toys or the cartoon. It's just, here's a new character, and we were like this, just looking and welcoming, like, oh, God, check out this new character. So for them to not take the shot and just create a brand new character, it dumbfounded me. And then, like you said, they took a character that almost none of the fans, unless they're super hardcore, ask 90% of Masters fans, Lieutenant Andrew, they'll be like, who the fuck is that? Oh, she was in one of the Star Marvel comics, this white chick with some red hair. They're like, I've never fucking heard of her. So you're still taking an unknown character that nobody knows. Now you're making her black. You could have just created a brand new black character. Somebody that you could have, like, this is a new character, not a, take the white one and make her black. It didn't do anything to benefit anything. Like I said, and the black community is pissed. And this isn't me just saying it. I see it in all the Masters of the Universe forums. And if you won't go to Tough Nerd,
you were messaged personally.
And personally, out of nowhere, I didn't. Like I said, I woke up to 3 messages. And every fan that messaged me was black, and they're pissed, and they've been my friends on Facebook since I fucking got on Facebook. And if you want, go check out Tough Nerd Toys here on YouTube later today. He has a video where he talks about his thoughts on the new King Grayskull, and he's not happy. So it's just, it boggles my mind when they say, look what we did, but you made it a weaker version.
They want to be considered fucking martyrs, and all they did is look like idiots to insult the property and insult the fans too. So, but I shouldn't have expected anything less.
But it goes back to that's how we are as a society, that so many people feel like they have to tiptoe with things or make this stuff happen just to make them come across as, hey, we're being progressive. And what I have to say, this might dig a little deep for a second, but it's kind of like also too how major companies, we have Pride Month in June, right? So when June 1st comes, all the companies on their social media accounts, in stores, whatever, they're like, here's the rainbow. Hey, we're here for the gay community. And then as soon as July starts, all that shit's gone, right? So then what happens? It's just there as a front to show, hey, we're you guys matter, and we care about you, and all this stuff. And it turns out it's just saving face. I'm sure sometimes there are good intentions behind it, but a lot of times, especially in this case, it just doesn't come across that way. That being said, What?
No, no, go ahead. Finish your point there, bud.
I was just gonna say that, I know it's not like this. I wish it could be more like this. And maybe I'm wrong here, and people feel free to disagree with me on this. I feel like racism is something that is taught to you. That's something that is handed down to you. I don't think we're born looking at other people and being like,
You don't do that.
you know?
Kids, when they grow up and play with each other, you're right. Everybody just plays together, and you're right. Some shit will come around where you have some asshole, whether it's a friend or relative, say something stupid, and then it's in their, it's in your head.
And it also comes down to the cartoons. We've all three collectively said when we watched these as a kid, we weren't thinking, that guy's black, or that guy's Italian, or that guy's Asian. We're just like, that's a cool character.
Exactly.
Oh man, she's really awesome. You didn't think whether it's male, female, or if they were on screen doing cool shit and beating up bad guys.
Yep.
It didn't matter either way, and I wish that we could go back to that, but obviously with how complicated and convoluted everything is now, we can't. So
I just always been taught to, like I said,
sort of stuck that way.
Just good to one another. That's how I have always been. That's how I've been, was raised, and I'm still like that. I've never judged anybody by what they look like, and that might be, like I said, I know I wear my mask, I have my gimmick, but I used to get called a lot of interesting names growing up all through school, and hearing all that shit in the names, I was like, I can't in my heart do anything back to people like that and say anything to anybody by what they look like, because that shit, it hit me in the heart how horrible that was. And I think that's why when I always bring up Heart of a Giant with Cambro, I told you that episode always meant so much to me, because how he's being judged by what he looks like, and you see that he's really a smart guy, and he got picked on though because of what he looked like. They thought he was a freak, and at the end the moral was, don't judge people by what they look like. Don't judge a book by its cover. That really meant something to me, and things still are here in my heart and my mind. I of course try to forget the stuff from the past, and I'll still get a little comment here and there, but I've never been that person. I've never even thought, Desire, what do I gain from judging somebody and being an asshole and talking about people? So I've always been, like with the mindset, you always treat people like you'd want to be treated, really good. And that's I wish the world could be like that with everybody. Just, goddamn it, be nice to everybody and don't judge people by what they look like.
But Joe, people are shit, so it's never gonna it's never gonna be that way. People are just, there's always gonna be, no matter what, there's always going to be that one person that's going to be the detractor and ruin it for everybody and just like shove it down your throat with just their opinion. And I know we have our opinions on the show, but guess what Tyler always says? Hey, if you like that, that's cool. What do I say? If you like that, that's cool. You might not agree with it. It's just like the Bionic 6 thing, to bring it back to Retro Blasting's review. Tyler didn't agree with it, but he respects it because dude knows his shit. Yeah. So I don't know.
Well,
maybe that's not a...
Too, when Michael says stuff, and that's an example too of like, he's not, he's looking for, I grew up watching it, and I know that always skews it, but I grew up watching certain things I loved as a kid that I'm like, I really don't care if I ever go back and revisit that again. Like Power Rangers is a prime example. Loved it as a kid, piece of shit show now. I'll never go back and watch it again.
It sucks, man.
It's
it
terrible.
Does not hold
terrible.
Up. Yeah.
Just one example. So it's not always, you have that nostalgia for it and you watch it through those eyes, because that's not the case. Like, I appreciate Muppet Babies even more as an adult. I loved it as a child. As an adult, it's a much more smarter show.
Because it had those jokes that would appeal to the parents who had to sit there and watch it with their kids.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh my God, this show's fucking smart. But like, to go after Michael because he said that there's lacking in logic and things, like, there are things that are true about it, but I still like the show. I won't say it's a stupid show, like he refers to it as, but I like him too much to just go after him. Joe and Nathan had liked things that I don't like, and I've liked things.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, and
we give each other shit about that all the time.
Yeah, and I'm like, for me to send Nathan a private message, I hope you burn in hell because you like Fast and the Furious or something like that, or Joe, like, hey, Joe.
Halloween 5
through 8.
Made me sit through Last Dragon 5. Or something like that. Or that Rawhead Rex. Like, oh my God,
Rawhead Rex is great.
Rawhead Rex.
Rawhead Rex is awesome.
That's fun.
I love that movie. And Halloween 5 is fantastic too. Halloween 5 is amazing. Love that movie. Goddammit, I love it.
What's the part in Rawhead Rex? Doesn't he like piss on somebody at some point? I'm trying to remember. It's been so long.
I don't want to. I just remember
You guys got to see that
little boy
movie.
being killed. I'm like, it ain't like Joel's eating
Joe,
Alex Kintner. This was just like.
What do you mean we need to see that movie,
No,
Joe? We did an
I'm
episode
talking about
on
people
Beyond
here.
Retro about it.
If you guys in the chat have never
you're
seen,
talking to them.
if you've never seen Rawhead Rex, see that movie. It is fantastic. You'll love it. And if you want a super cheesy movie, it's supposed to be over top cheesy and terrible. Watch Axum. Axum is something else. It's an hour and 10 minutes of terrible goodness. But go ahead, Tyler. Back to you.
Oh my god. But no, the point is that, you know, yeah, we're going to be running across people. I talk to people at work who have disagreeing views on movies and cartoons and comic book mythology. But if we're speaking like how the three of us are speaking here, Nathan can like something I don't like, and you know, we're still best of friends. Same thing with Joe. We're still the best of friends. Like, you know, people just don't know how to communicate it because they act like a bunch of damn animals on social media. So that's why when Michael says something about a show or a property that he is not really fond of him, but I like him, like, it's just his perspective on it, you know, and I could say something probably that, you know, he disagrees with, you know, which we, you know, I'm sure we'll get into that, but we also have a lot of things we overlap and we do like, but getting back to the show though, it bothers me though that I kind of feel like it's an oversaturation of everyone's like, look how progressive we are. Like, the show itself is already progressive. The fact that we had all these characters introduced thanks to like Larry Houston and wonderful writers who like, you know, Larry DiTillio and Michael Reeves and Paul Dini and Robbie London, all these guys put in these beautifully well done stories that still to this day are not giving enough credit to the masses anyway, have already established that Eternity is a rich world of very diverse ethnicities, races, of types of people all over. Hell, even Tale of Two Cities, when Garn, who's a black gladiator, thinks He-Man is a legend because they're so far off from where, you know, the Palace of Eternity is at, where He-Man's roaming around, that, you know, He-Man is just merely you know, there's really this guy that rides around on a green tiger and lifts up things over his head and fights with a sword. Like, it shows you how diverse the planet is. Just a simple line of dialogue tells you so much more, all you need to know.
Yeah,
you know?
And I forgot to mention that I did bring up Garn to Ted also in the Shadow Weaver's realm. I think I just, my mind was
when the guy left social media and just said,
hey,
someone
Tyler,
else has got to go out there and talk to fans.
Wait, actually, hold that right there. I was on 4 or 5 things, and I tagged them after each one. Again, being courteous, not saying nothing nasty. Do you know that he did leave Shadow Weaver's realm right after I did the 5th one? He left. He was gone. So Joe Amato made that guy who's working on that new Revelation.
I guarantee he went back to his buddies like, man, there's some guy there being toxic, being the head, and his butthole was all hurt.
You know what I think it is? Now, the thing is, I kept it civil, and I think he knew that, but I think maybe he realized after him saying, you know, there hasn't been this character, and then I showed him all, it made him look like probably, oh, well, shit, God, somebody does know it. And he left.
And to expose things up and say, oh, well, we make King Grayskull black because, well, we have 2 blonde guys, and we decided to just make one black. I'm like, okay, so you have this whole cast of characters, and instead of just well, you know what? I wouldn't want these idiots to come up with a new character anyway. Look what the hell they're doing with already established characters. Can you imagine what they do with a brand new character? My God, they probably make them, you know, on par with, like, you know, a Jar Jar Binks or something. Like, they were like, they have. I was telling Nathan yesterday too. I sent him a picture of one of the villains from the Conan the Barbarian comic series that Roy Thomas and John Buscema and Ernie Chan worked on in the 70s. You know, and just one of the issues too. There's a, you know, this is not paint. Like there was a villain in a 2-issue story arc called Torora, who was a witch doctor, but he looked like a badass. Like, you know, he's only in the stories for a brief period, but he is a foe of Conan in this small story arc in the swamp. But I'm like, you read those books all back then that were already written by Robert E. Howard, and you see just how diverse that world is in just Conan alone. Like, you got Zula and the crew and the various characters that Conan runs across with Valit and her crew. He's just like, it's such a diverse world already, and they look awesome. They fit within this world, and they're. I mean, even though it's of that time, you know, they're more tribal and things like that. But they're like Zula's. I wish Zula had got his own series, but I just kind of feel like, why is it so hard to come up with characters of ethnicity? Like, you look at Prince Daikon. cool looking outfit, cool headpiece, and he's a sword fighter. You know, you look at Garn in the mini comics is a badass looking Native American with a mohawk. Simple design. You know, Garn in Tale of Two Cities is a big hulking black man, like simple design, but damn it, it works. And you look at Leon from Double-Edged Sword.
Yep. I brought him up too.
Yeah,
I brought that up to him as well because he was saying I think any of the Asian characters that have been depicted in Masters have been bad, like ninja or Jinjutsu, and that's why I was like, well, did you know about Leon? And I showed his desire of wanting to be a palace guard, and even at a young age wanting to fight and get into things. I was like, so could you picture him in the new Revelation series? He could have been older. He would have been somebody that had headed up right there next to Teela to battle side by side, and right there you had a character that would have been of Asian descent that is not a villain. So these were all characters I was pointing out, along with Garn, saying, picture this goddamn giant, muscly, strong man going into battle. Wouldn't you want him fighting side by side? So there's, like I said, I got the 5, and then he left the group, so I couldn't keep going because I was going to keep going. I wasn't done.
And not to mention, yeah, he's in the trailer, but look at the, and this wasn't intentional, but the man on my shirt, like you could do so much more to raise Clamp Champ into just this big prominent position in the show. And they may do that. We haven't seen the show yet. He's in it, so maybe he will get some prominent time, but I'm just there easy right there to do something with. And they probably won't.
No, because
what we saw in the trailer will probably
that's
be
why
it.
I feel like they're pushing way too fucking hard trying to make Teela the star of our show because we have to push, you know, you can be progressive, but not looking like you're trying to force it down people's throats and say, you fucking take it. We're going to make everybody females in this cast and you're going to like it. And if you don't, then you hate women. Like, you don't understand what real progression is here, people. You know, you don't. Not at all.
Oh, God.
What she got?
Sorry. No, wait, come back and hand me that real quick.
What, she got some butter?
So she went to make me another drink and she came back she wanted to hand me butter. So if you guys want to look at this.
Put it in your coffee.
No, hang on. We put it right here. Hopefully this will,
yeah, I can see it.
It'll be kind of blurry. There we go. See, look at that. 1/4 of a cup goes to half. It goes all the way to half on that stick.
Yeah,
you're madman.
Should have used that. Emily would have loved it, but whatever.
You're a caveman.
He's a caveman.
Go ahead, Tyler.
But yeah, there's just so much that you could be doing. And obviously, you could tell these idiots never went back and watched the original Filmation series. Teela had a lot of prominent episodes. One of the best, Teela's Quest. But doesn't mean you gotta say, well, we're gonna do what we're gonna do here, and if you don't, then clearly you're someone who doesn't like progression. You don't like women. You don't like this. No, you just don't fucking get it. You know why they don't get it? Because, like you said, we didn't have a problem with Teela in any of her one-off episodes. I brought this up to Nathan. I think I was going to finally bring it up to you. Our favorite mini-comic of all time, The Clash of Arms, starring Fisto, was amazing. But I tell you what, if Fisto would have been the main star of this new Revelation, I'd be just as pissed because I'm expecting to see He-Man more. That's what they're not understanding. It has nothing to do with Teela as a female. It's just the character in general. We've been waiting 20 years to have He-Man return, and I'm hoping he's in
40.
a lot of episodes.
Joe, hey, no, they're saying 40
Oh, yeah,
years,
40.
all right?
All right. Let me do it in Joe's translation, though. Yeah, 20 years we've been waiting for He-Man to return, and it'd be nice if he's at least in 6 episodes, but I have a feeling he's not. And again, if this was Fisto or any other character leading the way, I'd be just as pissed with it as it is with Teela.
No,
it's not because she's a female.
The concept of even doing a full episode devoted to Teela, a full episode devoted to Clamp Champ, a full episode devoted to one of the villains. Like, hell, if you're good, that's the whole. That's one of the good things about a lot of these binge watching series is that if you're going to have like an order of several episodes, you can kind of devote certain episodes to a character or two and really take time to flesh them out. It's not a very tall order that we're getting with this piece of shit show anyway. So it's obviously we're going to be getting all the new ridiculous changes that Kennedy, Rob David, that the equivalent of that shit.
Just we're only getting 10 episodes, and that's the thing. A 1 and 2 part, one or two part story arcs, I don't care about. But if it would be like 6 or 7 with this character, I was like, holy fuck!
Honestly, I'm glad they're not getting that many because if this is what we're getting, then I don't want to know because I'm really after what came out in that comic book and what we know is coming. I'm really scared to death of actually making myself sit down and watch one full episode of the series. Like it's almost.
No, you got you gotta watch it all. If I have to watch all of it, you're gonna watch all of it.
I mean, it just seems
Can I-
so. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna just say, can I actually give my thoughts on King Grayskull? Because I didn't.
That's right.
Oh yeah, go
anything.
ahead. Especially from
We're just,
MYP.
We're
Yeah.
being greedy here.
No, because and this is what these guys always want, that fresh perspective, right? So I've never watched that episode of MYP, and I watched it early this morning when I got home, and
Probably not the best time
You
to
guys-
watch it when you were up so late dealing with that shit.
you guys always talked about in passing, for me, to catching you guys in passing, it was always just how much bullshit it was. And actually sitting down and watching it, I totally get that perspective now, because it is incredibly lazy. That, I mean, just the whole story, how it goes along that he loses his sword and thinks that was the reason to put him ahead of everyone else, and it turns out that he had the power all along, right? And then to not survive that battle with Hordak, and then for him to essentially just become a Force Ghost and put his powers into the sword, made me roll my eyes. And the one thing that I was thinking about this entire time when you pitched the idea of doing that this week was, if you were stuck with having to have a King Grayskull in your series, how would you implement him in it to make it work? And here is my pitch. Because when I watched it, I'm like, all right, to me, I feel like there is some wiggle room here. I don't think King Grayskull necessarily has to be involved at all with having any sort of maintaining power that what inevitably becomes the power sword that He-Man wields. In my mind, I'm thinking he is the king of Castle Grayskull.
Oh.
It is like in his last name, right? But it's more along the lines in my mind, if they were wanting to go this way and really just go back and they want to add all these extra details, what if you had it to where you can even be like, there's been so many ultimate battlegrounds over the decades.
All right,
Blah. Hang on. No,
Let him go, 'cause this is fun. I'm enjoying this.
You let me go.
I'm enjoying it.
So they could just be like, there's been all these ultimate battlegrounds,
God,
right?
I hate when you say that.
And so it's always it's all
Hang the fucking box. It's not the name of a battle.
I know, man.
And you
but
people buying into this Billy
hang on,
Jack bullshit.
but you gotta put yourself in that seat of how they've been doing all this bullshit.
I don't have to put myself anywhere.
You gotta see it like there's always all these constant battles. I won't say it again to keep your head from exploding scanner stuff. Or it's always about the grand scheme of things of so many different people always trying to take over the castle for whatever reason. That's always been left unknown and fuzzy to everybody. But there's always, it's kind of like the gold rush. You know, people are like, there's something there. This has to be mine. So they're constantly fighting for it. And King Grayskull has been defending this castle for X amount of time. It's always like the last stop. Even if other battles are lost elsewhere, if there's like a big, huge war between different races, this was always the last stop, and it's always held its ground for X amount of time, right? Don't even have King Grayskull as anything necessarily to do with He-Man. Just keep it more in the past to sort of put the castle over as being just this majestic thing that has withheld so much stuff after millennia, or you know, if you want to squeeze it down and do decade, whatever. You know, that it's withheld all this time. Now, as far as the power sword, maybe make that to where it's not. It's always destined that Adam is like chosen to wield it, and I wouldn't say go the same route as like a sword in the stone kind of thing, but have have more vagueness to it, but also build up the castle, but just keep King Grayskull as like, yes, it's called Castle Grayskull because that was the lineage of his name and his family before him and whatever, and it's just this esteemed place. And people always wanted to try to overtake it. I always think of it as like the Greyjoys in Game of Thrones or something. You know, that castle's been fortified, and people are always trying to take it over.
I get what you're saying. Just watching Tyler this whole time. He's been having his hand like this, looking like, oh, what the fuck is he saying? He's just waiting.
I'm just, hey man, honestly, I'm not gonna too much. I feel like that at least that's better than the shit they're trying to do.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, like you're trying to make something out of the shit to be a little bit better, and I can understand what you're saying. At least with yours,
if you're stuck with that character, and they're like, boom, make this work. Have King Grayskull nothing to do with that. Just put the castle over. He was just there. It's like he inherited. It was his family's.
No,
but it's called Castle Grayskull.
So this is where it's important to know all of the importance of what hero and why. Joe, and we didn't emphasize this enough, is that Grayskull was built to honor Hero after he died, because his name is Grayskull. So,
but they don't give a shit about him. I'm putting it in the mindset of making that work with them.
So to play off of what you're saying a bit, because I've always felt the castle does not get enough importance, especially in modern canon, because everyone's trying for their whole bullshit shock. We got to kill somebody off. Oh, it'd be great. They'll buy our bullshit comics and our variant covers. Fuck you. Hero needs to be built up. No questions asked. That character has got to be put over the moon. War of the Dinosaurs, when his time is over with, when his battles with King Hess are over with and he dies, the castle is built to honor him and the power that he maintained as the most powerful wizard in the universe is transformed into Grayskull and becomes, or is...
In whatever way he could have created the sword with his magic, his energy, the power of him with Eldor and the Book of Living Spells. That's what we were expecting.
Yeah.
So what? All right. What if you take that and it is erected in his honor, but you still throw in the thing of like, all right.
If I'm forced to walk in and I got to sit down in front of Rob David, who's got this major boner, say, look, Tyler, you're making great valid points. We paid this guy. He won't leave unless we put King Grayskull in here, or somehow. You at least got to get the character in. All right. I just came up with this at this spur as Nathan was talking here.
No, okay.
As long as we have established that the source of He-Man's power comes from the most powerful wizard in the universe, that when everything that he learned from the Book of Living Spells from Eldor and from a time before time, back when the Snake Men running around in the most ancient of times. That castle is erected. It's the ultimate source of power, thanks to Hero. When Hero is passed, and the castle is built by the giants, like by Titus and his people. If you needed, someone who is chosen as a leader for the local tribes and villages from across the land, they pick a big gentleman. You don't call him fucking King Grayskull as his real name.
Well, why not? Well, what if they did that as a way to honor Hero? Because you said that the castle was named after him to kind of you.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He is not called King Grayskull by name. That's the title you give him. These surrounding villages, once the wars with the Snake Men are over, they've been banished. Hero is dead. Eldor is gone. The dinosaurs are extinct. It's a new time, a new age, and there's chaos around. This castle is an important part of the world, but we don't want evil coming after it. So around the time that you kind of establish that we need a guardian, a sorcerer, someone who's not above and beyond human, that then you establish that Grayskull is simply a kind of the precursor to the sorceress, someone who's not magic, but people think that this guy is a great warrior to protect this castle for us, but clearly he's not up to the task because he's human, and that's when you establish that the sorceress. We need someone who's a lot stronger than that to protect the castle, before the idea, because that way, this whole idea of Wondar, Vicor, King Grayskull, all these multiple humans is bullshit that Scott Knightley made up. It's made up nonsense. So people listen, forget all that. And I'm trying to humor Nathan with this too, is that I'm trying to make sure there is no direct lineage between King Grayskull, as people know him, and He-Man. Because
that was my whole point with it too, is to just completely make it separate. In my mind, I'm like, all right, well, if you wanted to take that realistic approach to it and have it, because we're living in a time, it's like, all right, there's castles and kings and everything. Like, you can still have that be its separate thing, but like somehow build it up to where the castle is that majestic thing, and you could implement that part of like that's a reason why.
You know how that can work, Nathan?
Power, yes.
Look, and this could work absolutely perfectly. You got to think about, well, let's even harken back to mini comics, the King of Castle Grayskull. And like you said, let's say he could have been a king that defended that castle before the Sorceress even came, or before whatever could have happened, and he died, and that's the spirit that we have in the spirit of Castle Grayskull. When you see it, I think, bam, it'd be genius. He's the one that told Teela, remember, of the whole spirit, when he spoke to her, saying, legend tells of a warrior will find, that would be the spirit. So King Grayskull could become the spirit of Castle Grayskull.
And if you wanted to, and like change the name, but even if you wanted to be stupid and have the cornball bullshit jokes in there, you could be like, I always thought you were King Grayskull, and then you'd be like, no.
Well, it's like you said, as being a king, just a king as a title, but defending, like you said, Castle Grayskull. But when he dies,
put the castle over.
His
that was the whole thing.
Yeah,
put the castle.
And his essence and spirit would
any direct lineage. I don't want him to have
no lineage.
To He-Man. No strength. He's just a very strong warrior that people like. They picked him. We need someone to lead us right now to keep evil, at bay, and to make sure people don't, desecrate this castle that we built to the most, And
when died, he's there as the essence, and he would be that spirit. Because what sucks is, again, just as I was so excited for the MYP cartoon, thinking we were getting Hero, think about this revelation. Remember, when we heard about the cast and they announced there was going to be Hero, I was like, well, fuck yeah. Now we're going to get Hero. We didn't get him in MYP, and son of a bitch, they did it to us again. So we're still not getting Hero, the most powerful wizard in the universe. There is no origin of how he's going to use his magic powers to create a sword that would be passed on to He-Man. It's been fucking switched again. It's like, damn it, why can we not get a proper origin for Hero? So we've been hornswoggled twice. MYP, we thought it was going to happen, but this one, we seen his name, we know he's coming, but fuck Hero again. Why can this guy get no respect? I can't believe it.
I don't know why these guys have such a hard-on for that character. It doesn't make any sense. Like, if they have access, which they clearly are more 2000 X-Men than anything else. Like, if I had Stratus as a kid, well, I stand corrected then, jerk off. Yeah, I hate it when people said that they had a figure or figures as a kid, and that makes them like, I'm going to direct your fucking movie because I had Lion-O and Rotaro as a kid. Well, hire this man. It's not enough, man. So I don't get why they're so fixated on this character, and it just shows you how uninspired they are as, I don't even call them writers, because they can't fucking write.
Quickly to address somebody, J.P. Fawn did. Now, I had to address this because he has to know this. He said, doesn't the power of Grayskull come from Eternia itself, like the Abyss or Starseed? Now, again, that was that shit that we got from them goddamn 2012 comics, where they wanted, again, build slightly off the classics, bios, crap, and garbage.
Well,
and that's when King Grayskull...
and the Abyss, those are Filmation...
and now they have King Grayskull forging the Star Seed into the Power Sword and the Sword of Protection. So it's like, that's more of that. That ain't the original stuff. So again,
less is more, guys.
Yeah, they do too much. It's like,
Nathan's right, because that's what kept us all wanting so much more about this stuff, is that not everything was explained. Not to mention, it doesn't need to be fucking explained.
Exactly.
There's that's what makes this.
We don't have to have an origin for everything.
Into this. Fortress of Mystery, emphasis on mystery and power.
That's
it. Scott Knight likes to read box art and apply that shit to storylines, but I guess he did get the word fucking mystery and pass along to his buddy Rob David.
So it all started with the real names for all the characters and everything else. Too much real names for everybody and an origin.
I was on the right track with trying to make it a thing that people were wanting. It was just the mystery of it's what draws everyone to they got to have it. They got to take it over. It's got to be theirs, you know.
Yeah, I don't need.
And you don't have to explain that stuff, really.
No,
Yeah,
but knowing that it's passed around, is the blood is the fortress of power. It's the ultimate power, which is why Skeletor's constantly after it. I don't need to have it explained. Just like with anything else, like trying to explain why a villain wants a gold sword because it's the ultimate weapon, or it looks cool, or they want this crown, or they want this jewel, or they want this book of spells. Like, I don't need to have explain to me why this prize is so damn important. Like, they want it, they can't have it. End of story. You know, but you bring Rob David and Kevin Smith, get around the table here. Let's over-explain this shit here. Let's give the book original name here. Who wrote it? What was he thinking? What, you know, did he have something bad for lunch? Did he take a lot of shits? Or just unnecessary information that nobody fucking needs? And you know, they just don't get it. I'm dreading the end of this month. I mean, worse than having to take a shit on a school bus and you can't go to the bathroom. I mean, it's.
Oh, that happened to you before?
Oh, it happened to me all the time when I was in school. Like, having to go to the bathroom, you're stuck on the school bus. Like, oh my God, like, because
that surprisingly enough, that never happened to me.
Oh, that was almost I won't say daily, but frequent enough to where it was like, oh my God, like,
Jesus, really? I've never had to use the bathroom, I never had to go number 2, as they'd say, anywhere but home. I know this is bizarre, but
it was more about nerves, you know, because when you're in middle school and high school, you're always worried about, you know, people wanting to pick on you and start fights with you just because you're walking. You happen to be walking in front of them, so you're just nervous all the time. So I'd get nervous stomachs before going to school a lot, and you're trapped on the bus, and the only bathroom you had access to in middle school, that bathroom had no doors on the stalls.
Stall doors.
Yeah, so it was just like, man, you're doomed. You know, so it was that's why I hated fucking school so much. You know, you couldn't be open about liking the things you're into. You know, and you got to worry about, man, can I walk down this hallway without some, some guy who doesn't like my shoes, which did happen. You know,
it's like that one kid. I went to take a shit. It was in high school. I actually found one that had a stall in the door, and some kid was like wanting to look over. I'm like, you want to just watch me take a shit, you weirdo? Like,
wow, that's.
But okay. And that's the mentality of like the popular kids. They go like, what are you doing there? Pooping? Hey, Tucker, come on, we're gonna watch this guy pooping. You know, it just I've never understood that kind of bullshit. But anyway,
I didn't either. The nervous poops.
Yeah, the nervous poops. But I told Joe and Nathan, because people, you know, anybody who ever wants to harp on us about our lack of progression here, I wrote a little something, and I'll read it for everyone on here. I had a story planned. I've told you guys before, and I just got the urge to write this like one night, like many months ago. And just kept it in secret and didn't share it with anybody. But then when all the stuff come on, people bitching about Teela becoming the star, I'm like, I'm all for Teela becoming a very key part, which to me, she's a key part of the mythology. Obviously.
Yeah, she's always been,
They just don't know how to fucking write her. You know? So I want to show just a completely made-up example here real quick for you guys. Not to bore these guys to death. You know, Joe's already read it. Nathan hasn't read it before, but I just want to.
Yeah, why didn't you send it to me?
Because you can't read.
How? Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Right, so go ahead, Tyler.
I just pushed the button.
Well, I guess at the time, like me and Joe were just talking. I'm like, Joe, read this. You know, and it was just kind of like in the heat of like, you know, people don't, you know, it was just.
That's all right. I thought it was your best friend.
Well,
it's been like 20 years.
Nathan has seen other stuff that no one else has seen too. So.
Yeah. No, there is something in particular.
Yeah, actually, Joe hasn't seen it either. So Nathan has seen something else that Joe hasn't seen, and Joe,
which is great. Yeah, which is really great.
Which hopefully one day people will get to see it. But this opening prologue I wrote, okay, call it A Hero's Tale. This is the son of He-Man. Historians have a great deal of trouble recalling the last period on this planet when evil in its purest form was not branding the land. For many years, many long years, men and women gave their lives to chain the evil hands of the demon from infinitum. In the end, it would be one man, a wondrous hero to end it, a mortal who was given the power of Grayskull to use in defending our planet, a responsibility larger than the cosmos, a duty more taxing than that of Procrustes, a rivalry so great it would span across decades, across the planets, even other time frames. It had to end someday, and it did. The champion of Eternia poured his heart and soul to protect us all. Everything with a heartbeat was thankful that day. I myself not only was thankful, but proud and disgusted with myself. The truth was out there for me to see. Never had I experienced so much love and hate at once. Much like the event of that day, the unbelievable became believable. I realized so much more was happening within the world I knew and in the mindset I lived in. The hostility became humble. The anger became forgiveness. The feelings became real. Things were changing around me, and I was not going to deny that. My father would call that growth. So much change, wave of endless emotion, so much more pain to bear, yet so much love to share. When the words were shared, the feelings exposed, the love connected, the future was planned for. Secrets were secured. Finally, it was time. The new chapter in my life had begun. New duties were ahead, new battles to be fought. Skeletor would return, and we would be ready. I would be there, waiting and watching. The power of Grayskull would challenge the return. To ensure the balance, a new champion was to be born. I know this, for I am Tila, the sorceress of Grayskull. This is the story of my son.
You woman hating
That
some bitch.
sucked.
You
That
woman
sucked.
hating some
Who
bitch.
who are you?
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
What, you trying
I'm
to be Rob David over here? Kevin Smith? What
No,
are you
but it's
trying to
good
do?
you
That was garbage.
I am embarrassed that I shared that.
No,
with you
that
guys.
was
In fact,
good.
I'm gonna throw my fucking phone in the toilet. What a fucking.
He's like,
hack I am.
Nathan, go ahead and edit that part right out of the fucking show. But no, it
Yeah,
just
yeah.
shows.
I want you to like stop the show right now, Nathan. Go back and re-edit this.
Yeah, like,
You know.
He's like, I'm gonna read something, and then it comes back, and then he's putting it down, like, what the fuck just happened? It was like, oh no, it was just a joke. He really didn't read nothing. No, but it shows what we've always said. I mean, if we hated Tila, She-Ra, all of the cartoon of the Princess of Power, we wouldn't be talking about and celebrating it all these years later. We do this because we're passionate and we love it. And again, as we've said hundreds of times, we want the property to be treated with the most respect as possible. That's why we get passionate. If we hated the shit, we wouldn't be doing the show. Would we be here every single week, 5 years straight? Me posting shit everywhere, and Tyler and Nathan, and sharing that love all the time, it wouldn't exist. We just love it. Like I said, so yeah, we're definitely gonna be watching the cartoon when it comes out, see what the hell happens. But goddamn, Scareglow, I thought he was gonna have some cool ass shit. He better, God, now he's considered like making a deal with the devil.
Oh, but Kevin
man.
Smith said he was really cool because Tony Todd recorded the voice. Like, of course, Tony Todd's gonna be.
Oh,
awesome.
probably
He's
has
awesome at
of
everything.
course, Tony has a badass voice. He's all,
but it's
like
like
I said.
anytime Kevin Smith puts something over, like, oh fuck, man. He said Revenge of the Sith was great, so was Phantom Menace. So you know it's doomed from the get go.
Honestly, I would have preferred Keith David doing the voice.
Keith David could voice anything.
Tony
Keith
Todd.
David should be voicing damn near everything. You know, Keith David should be voicing Scareglow. Michael Jai White should be playing Clamp Champ.
Let me ask you this:
or Carl Weathers.
Since you read that monologue of Tila kind of giving that opening, what would be the follow up to that? Are we immediately in that moment of the new champion being crowned, or are we going back again to kind of build up again to that moment, like to swing it back around and come back to that moment?
No, it's the story would, and I had two ideas I'd always really tinker with. It starts with like we see Dare, or establishing that He-Man or that Adam and Tila, before Adam goes off to be king and Tila goes off to be sorceress, they have a child together. So that way they can say, look, we love each other, but we're destined for two different roles, major roles, but we still want to consummate our love, and that we know that I can't be He-Man forever, and you're not going to be Captain of the Guard. You have this duty to become Tila. We need it.
It's time to fuck.
Yeah, so yes, you can put it that way. You can be like, I'm name's Fuck, I'm married to Fuck, But they have a
Wait,
child.
no, your name's He-Man. No, right now it's Bug.
Yeah. So,
Can I say something about Keith David? You mentioned Keith David, like maybe doing the voice for Scareglow. I would say no. I'd rather have Tony Todd. Keith David, though, would be awesome as Clamp Champ, because picture him in battles. All I picture is They Live with him and Piper, and when they're just beating the shit out of each other. You can picture Clamp Champ. Oh my God, that would be the perfect voice for that character. Just beating the hell out of somebody.
I would like Michael Jai White to be Clamp Champ. Voice Clamp Champ.
I'm going with Keith David. I'm still sticking with Keith David. I think Keith David would fit that role a lot better. But yeah, Michael J. White.
I think Keith David was portrayal of Spawn, but Tony Todd has such a great voice too. But you know what? Hell, see, if we're doing it, we're bringing in Prince Dacon, we're bringing in Garn, we're bringing in Raka, we're bringing in Queen Belina. We're bringing in Geldor. we're not just coming up with one black character. We're bringing all the kick-ass black characters, and we get Carl Weathers, we get Michael Jai White, we get Tony Todd, we get Keith Daly, we get all these guys to do recordings for all these great characters because they're fucking great actors. But
why can't they bring Black Dynamite back in limited theaters? Because that has such a limited run back then. It didn't make the money it deserved. Because god damn, that's one of the best movies ever. Could you picture if they did a limited run for just a weekend somewhere within 4,000 screens? Oh my god.
I don't think, I feel they would have to promote the shit out of it, and I don't know how people or most of the movie-going audience really respond to parody, and I don't know how many of them.
Oh, it's a comedy. I don't think they would have.
But have to be like movies. It's not another teen movie bullshit for people to turn out to it.
Yeah, but this is like a niche. We're going back to those days of the 70s blaxploitation genre. I don't know how that would.
But it's a parody comedy movie. I don't think anybody have issues.
I mean, I would be there to go. I would go to the theater to see that, and I don't plan on ever going to the theater probably ever again for quite a long time. But if they did that, I would go because that is a fantastic movie.
And
Phil Lamar for Clamp Champ. We forgot about Phil Lamar.
Wait.
He does a lot of great work as well.
I was trying to think, who else is doing voices? Damn, I don't know the whole voice cast for this new Revelation. Well, let me just sidetrack back to one thing. You know, I thought there was a rumor at one time when they were going to do Spawn, you know, like another Spawn or bring Spawn back. I thought the rumor was going to be Jamie Foxx as Spawn.
No, that wasn't a rumor. What? He was cast. They're just not going anywhere with it.
Okay, let me expand upon that. They're both, I believe, the same age. But who the hell do you think's in shape and can fight and can do that fucking role? You don't need special effects with Michael Jai White, but you'd need, you know, special effects for Jamie Foxx. Like, Jamie Foxx? Fuck that. Bring the original Spawn back. I mean, as much as people want to shit on the movie, it's like you can't shit on what Michael Jai White does. He's a real martial artist. He's still fucking in shape like he's 20 years old. It's like, damn, what are they doing when they think this shit? And think, oh, he'd bring in Jamie Foxx. He'd be great. It's like, no, he won't.
I mean, Jamie Foxx is not an A-list star, but I guess they think, you know, I guess it's like he was for a brief period, but you know, it's you know, that's why I kind of feel like they're going for name value, and that's why they're having trouble getting financed anyway. Jamie Foxx's star is like dwindling a lot in Hollywood. I mean, pre-pandemic, so it wasn't like he was like, holy shit, he did Ray. Now he's gonna play Spawn. Like
he
was awesome in Ray. He was great in Collateral.
He really was, but it's.
I like him as an actor, but he just doesn't fit that role to me. It's just I'm picturing somebody that definitely could.
Even when he played Electro, like when I first heard that, I'm like, well, you know, I'm sure he might be all right because I like Jamie Foxx. I don't like the goofy as hell, you know, Max that he plays as opposed to like, you know, just. You know,
but that was more that sympathetic villain shit.
Well, because all Marvel superheroes or DC too, you got to feel sorry for the damn villains. Like he couldn't just be a regular guy. And he gets this amazing power and then abuses it. Yeah, no, he's just like, oh, everyone picked on me or forgot about me or made me work overtime, and you know.
But I guess you know,
but he still looked. I think
that's what
like
makes
the visual Electro is Amazing Spider-Man 2 did look great. Like I genuinely liked the blue electricity feel and everything. I thought that looked good. I would always prefer the green suit with the lightning bolt mask. That is Electro to me.
I mean, but Jamie Foxx would have looked dumb as fucking then.
Well. Yeah, but
I remember fighting him in the Amazing Spider-Man versus the Kingpin on the Sega CD. Did you ever hear about that game?
Is this how you won that fucking
game,
jacket?
Yeah, I remember the game. I never got to play it though because I didn't know anybody who had it. I would see ads for it on comic books.
I had it.
Of course, that's how it was with a lot of games though back in the 90s. Where you see, I'm trying to avoid Joe telling that story, so I'm just going to keep rambling here. So he loses. You know, I just keep talking about the ads of comic books, and Joe maybe gets hungry and
just don't bring up food.
Yeah,
don't bring up food. That'll sidetrack him. Maybe we should bring up food because that would swing him off the topic onto something else.
Well, after this last thing, we're going to go to the chat, but I did want to say one more thing about, like you said, just I'm so sick of sympathetic villains. Hence,
oh my God,
Skeletor. I love Skeletor, how he originally was, just a demon from another dimension, not the Keldor into Skeletor, and let's pity him now. And the poor guy, he just no, I don't want that shit. Can we just have evil be evil?
he was all over that in his mini comics, man. Like,
and what's wrong with that? What's wrong with evil being evil? You know,
what a shitty
it is
story, man.
That's what always kills me. It's like, what is wrong with evil being evil, and why do they always have to make you feel sorry for them? Like, oh, but this is how they were before. It's like, no, just fucking make somebody evil. That's it.
They think
Plain
they're
and simple.
So smart with their like, oh man, you there's layers to the villain. Fuck you, man. Like, I don't need layers of my damn villains. You watch.
He wants to kill the hero. The end.
That's it. Damn it. Do I need to feel sorry for James Earl Jones and Conan the Barbarian? Hell no, I don't. You know, I didn't need to feel sorry for Darth Vader either. By the way, if people hate change or are all for change, imagine if someone at Disney decided, hey, we're going to make Darth Vader in this new series a good guy, and his outfit is going to be yellow. Because it is progressive, people. Are you telling me the Star Wars fans wouldn't be wanting that person's head on a silver platter? You know, I mean, like, because just for sake of change. Why is it, you know, okay to honor or not honor goofy ass thoughts and decisions like that? But when it comes to He-Man, you know, I know Star Wars fan base dwarfs He-Man's. I get that.
Yeah.
But the logic is still there. Why are you changing something that clearly is working and has been working for clearly when you weren't even paying attention to it and people were still praising the hell out of it? But we got to come in here and just change it all up because that's the cool thing in Hollywood now is even if it's not being progressive, we're just changing the fuck out of everything because
I just wish that they would make the changes and not say anything else about it or not have it written in a way when you're watching it that like you're being preached to or beaten over the head about
it. It does feel like we're being preached to all the time.
Because that's when it just puts the magnifying glass right over top of it. Look what they did. Just don't fucking say anything.
Yeah,
like,
all
just
the reason
shut
why,
up.
Yeah.
Make the change. It's like with we have Snake Eyes movie coming out, right?
Oh my god.
So,
Joe, don't be offended.
No, and I don't have a problem with it at all. But you go from all right, you have a blonde white guy who is injured in the comics. He's injured, so he doesn't speak anymore, and if he does, it's very rare. In this, the mask is off. He's an Asian guy. It's all about like the clans and all this stuff. I'm like, okay, like I understand where you're going with that, but why?
I don't know the character enough to know what you guys are talking about.
I probably shouldn't say that because I'm a blonde hair, you know, blue-eyed guy. You know, I'm about as white as white can be in terms of like cliches and stuff like that. But with Snake Eyes, you know, I mean, yeah, you don't see him that is out masked that much. I mean, yeah, there are issues in the comics where his mask is off. He serves in Vietnam. You know, they kind of keep him in shadow the way he's written in the book to the way he's illustrated. You don't see him directly, even before his accident.
You said he doesn't talk in the comics or anything?
No, he doesn't talk? Yeah, there was an accident and his vocal cords were damaged, so he can't speak. So
does he talk in the new one?
In this new one, he is going to talk simply because they said they want to change it. That is it, and that's what makes the character is that he doesn't talk; he's silent.
And even Larry Hama was like, "I'm all right with this change," and I'm like, it's fine. I just don't understand. It's like they did it just to be like, "Hey, look what we're doing." He's Asian, right? Because him and Storm Shadow is Asian, and like ninjas.
Yeah, they probably want to see a blonde-haired, blue-eyed guy fighting an evil Asian in this time where like, well, we got to make Taskmaster female.
You wouldn't even have to. You wouldn't even have to do that. It honestly kind of would have been more awesome if they stuck to. People don't see his face. He doesn't talk. He's just there, and he's doing cool shit.
And I'd have been fine, but that's what worried me, and I've said it before, and I'll say it again here, too. When they cast someone based on their credentials as an actor, which I can't remember the actor's name, he's playing Snake Eyes, but I'm like, I'm fine with him playing Snake Eyes if I knew you're not casting him to make him talk a whole lot. And sure enough, that's what they did. They cast him to have presence on the screen. Plus, not to mention, it looks like a damn Fast and the Furious movie. Sorry, Nathan. But it doesn't look like a G.I. Joe movie at all.
I take no offense.
They're bantering like this is not what we got in the comic books. And I know having Larry sign off on it, it's like Stephen King signing off on his adaptations. Like it's supposed to give credibility to, hey, the guy who wrote this is saying it's good, you know. I think people don't like a lot of Larry Hama's like current stuff that he writes and stuff like that. But I just don't. That's not a sign that says, hey, well, I have to go see this because Larry Hama said it was good. Like that, the character Snake Eyes is the silent assassin. That is what makes the character up. If you take that away, he's no longer Snake Eyes. I don't give a shit what you do with him. He's not Snake Eyes anymore.
Well, even I was at my parents' the other day to pick up a package that had gotten there, and Mom always watches Entertainment Tonight, and it's fucking trash. But they were
it's horrible.
They were interviewing the actor playing Snake Eyes, and they were showing clips of the movie, and they were given the voiceover. And when they're talking about Scarlet and Baroness, they're not saying like Scarlet's part of the Joes and Baroness is part of Cobra. They're like, no, and she plays the character. It's part of this terrorist organization. I'm like, so you guys are just trying to in a way like distance yourself from even like attaching this to G.I. Joe to begin with. And I'm like, fuck. What are you doing?
It's supposed to be secret that, oh wow, I wonder if Baroness is gonna be part of Cobra. Like, no, she's gonna
maybe
be
that's part of it too. They don't want to spoil it. And I'm like, come on, man.
Oh my god. I hate that fucking movie.
Speaking of G.I. Joe, did you happen to watch that episode?
I watched up to the part, and not that I didn't want to get back to it, I just haven't, to the part where these two guys were... No. I'm going to finish, I swear, but there was like these two guys that looked like each other were flying like these helicopters, and one started choking in the water, and you seen the other guy like choking. Is that like...
Zaymont.
All right, and that's what I was going to ask, because I kind of stopped there. In a way, it was just say...
Did they like feel each other's pain? Into the episode.
No, because right when I seen that, it had me wanting to ask a question. But I was like, well, I don't want to fucking ask them now. It sounds stupid. But now I'll ask since you're on the show.
Okay.
Do they have a connection to where like if one gets hurt, the other gets hurt, or what is there?
Well, they're identical. They're identical twins, Joe. Didn't you know that there's that thing with identical twins where apparently that's something of a thing that.
But I
will say I
never liked how they executed that in this series because they could really.
I agree.
They got really silly with it. But the Crimson Twins themselves, like. They have an awesome backstory. Like their position in the animated series is fucking awesome too. But
will that be something they focus on a lot? Like when I watch a cartoon, if one gets hurt, the other gets hurt. It's always going to be something like that.
Not every time, but they do. Like when Sergeant Slaughter picks up, I think it's Zaymont. He's spinning him around over his head. So Tomax is spinning around too. Like it doesn't make any sense. Like it's clearly from the. Yeah, I'm not going to defend that part because I love the Crimson Twins, a big fan of them, but I will not and I can't defend that execution. So,
all right, I'll finish it up. And now for the chat, if you guys had any questions you want to hit us with, go ahead. I did. I stopped right there, but no, I will get back to it. But yeah,
this is bullshit.
For everybody in the chat room, if you have any questions,
I wonder what Michael Frenchface had to say about this shit. I bet he's dumping all over it and say
Michael Frenchface.
If you guys have any questions, whether it's from Masters or anything, hit it in the chat room right now. And I was gonna also say I thought there was some questions you were gonna read from last week, Nathan. Maybe that. Somebody posted, or I thought you said you were going to get to somebody's comments.
I'm going to use the restroom real quick while you guys are getting that prepped and ready.
There was a comment from Blue-Haired Lawyer that I wanted to make a point to read because, especially with what we talked about tonight, I think it's very, very important to me anyway. And a Blue-Haired Lawyer says, I'm weird and my point of view probably won't win me any fans, but I love how all three of you guys always, and in capital letters, always say that people should just like what they like and it's all good. We all have different tastes. Blue-Haired Lawyer goes on to say, I'm 51 and I was about 11 or 12 when I got my first He-Man figure. I love the line well before Filmation cartoon debuted. The story in the mini-comics, the early 80s DC miniseries, and the cartoon were all over the place, so I've never really taken any particular canon seriously. I completely ignore the bios and classics. My love for the line comes from how cool the figures look and the beautiful packaging art. I don't really care about King Grayskull as a character, but I love the figure. As for the new King Grayskull, I care even less about him, but I will buy a figure of him if Mattel makes one. He'll be a cool-looking black barbarian warrior in plastic. It's the same reason I bought Vicor. I don't even consider him a past He-Man. He just looks like Conan, and I love that. So,
I will say that
goes back to what we were saying before, is that, like, shit can just look really cool, and you can like it for that.
And that's what I've noticed. Like I said, in the community, there's a there's more collecting than usually talking about the mini comics or cartoons. So I understand that, yes, when people see the figures, they're definitely going to be all aboard and buy it regardless. Like I said, there's, again, even for like the newer stuff and some of them past, everybody was saying, yeah, I'd get the figures and I always throw away the mini comic. And for me, I'm like, oh God, that sounds like a nightmare. Back then, I would never throw away a mini comic. I was ready to jump into the mini comic first, then play with my figure. Surprisingly, I actually could read, back then at a young age. But no,
Joe.
See, yeah, so I'd read those.
Prodigy.
Yeah, that's right. So I could read it.
Eating out of a dumpster, but he's a savant.
And then I would just.
I mean, to be fair though, he was 26 at the time.
Thanks, you fuckhead. All right, let's get to some of these questions then, dipshit. Adam Gabbert, do you have the Masters of the Universe Classic King Grayskull figure? God, do I still fucking have that? Because I thought there was some I got rid of because I couldn't stand. No, I don't. I got rid of that one. And he said...
The other thing I did want to say, too, really quickly, I did like the Battle Lion. I did like the massive scale of that. I liked watching the Battle Lion on there in the battlefield just throwing dudes
way
up
too fucking big. Oh my God, it was like a house.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, but that,
so
that,
much more
again,
giant.
was another two similar detailed to He-Man and Battle Cat. Like, you don't...
Which made Hero even more special. Think of not only Hero being different, but Hero could have had Turbodactyl. It's not a fucking another tiger or a lion, and this one's like, oh, we're not going to use a tiger. Let's make it a green lion. It's like, you fucking...
I agree. Okay. I think if it had a different name and maybe they changed the color up or make it a different animal entirely.
A different animal entirely.
But
yeah.
I mean, I also feel like they made them way too big. Both King Grayskull and the Battle Lion were way too damn big. I mean, they was like, well, they're not threatening at all. Like
that's what I mean.
Troopers,
King
the
Grayskull
themselves, like, why is this a challenge for anybody?
They were like, I mean, like I said, Battle Lion was like
they made him into John Cena.
He
is like just burying everybody. You're next. Or bury you. Like, there's no threat here.
The scale was nuts, though. It was nuts for Battle Line. It was way too much. Way too much.
I didn't care too much for the Horde Wraiths either.
Well, I'm sure if they had the rights with Filmation, we probably would have had Shadow Weaver. That was a way of just throwing in some fucking magic wizard people to kind of be similar to her.
I mean,
it wasn't
different to them. Like, people have a Major Jones for those two. Like, I mean, they're fine. I could care less about it because the Horde, like,
they were just like background stuff. They were almost forgettable. Yeah, they were kind of just
pretty much. They really don't serve a purpose honestly.
Okay.
But I included it in my Leech mini comic, though, at least referencing it. That way people were like, he did 2000X there,
Yeah, and again, if we had Filmation rights, guaranteed that would have been Shadow Weaver's role. She would have fucking probably held him at bay or did something. But, if, you never know. Because I know she was introduced, of course, how her story was and Filmation was different, but that's a whole different thing. Okay, so Adam Gabbert was asking about that figure and then also said, do you have the... Oh, he says, do you have it with the sound where he comes out of the jawbridge? Yeah, I have that one, and it was kind of cool to see, to have the lights and the flashing. Admittedly, it was the first figure we got was King Grayskull, and it was cool to see the flashing here and the I have the power. He did say I have the power, didn't he? God, it's been so fucking long since I
didn't buy that piece of shit.
I have it. I think he does say I have the... Or am I thinking of this fucking figure
if it wasn't so expensive, just to spite Tyler, I would buy a King Grayskull and a Battle Lion. And have it just for shits and giggles sit prominently on my shelf.
Well, I was forced to buy them as part of the line too, but the initial one that came out, like, no, I'm not buying that. Like, I'm hoping to do something else. Like, I was like, why did they pick this character? But that's probably where Scott Nolly was like, Horseman, you're gonna do what I tell you to do. I got all these crazy shitty ideas, and they're like, well, Scott, don't you really think? No, I'm running the show here.
Not only did they reuse the same bolts for the figures,
holding them hostage.
Yeah,
think of this though.
Plaza.
Not only did they reuse the same buck for the figures, but do you remember that King Grayskull statue then became He-Man, then became Hero, then became, I think, a different colored He-Man? They reused that same giant San Diego Comic-Con statue over and over, but just changed up the stuff. But just
that's how Scott was getting all those points from Mattel's like, Scott, you can write whatever you want, buddy. You do your own thing. We're not going to pay any attention. We're not going to give a shit. And you can just make up whatever you want. Technovest, go right ahead.
You know what? That statue is like the perfect visual representation of, I think, what you guys have gone through the last few years.
Yep, the same stuff. All right, and Mobile Recluse has a question. Said, are you excited for the Mattel Geek Out this week? What's that? I'll be honest, I don't know what that is. Any of you guys hear about that?
If Mattel's announcing something, they can't be any good.
It's probably just more dumb bullshit.
Mobile, you'll have to shoot us down here if you can give some more detail on it. Fedmon said, what girl toy line did you have to play with when you had to go over to girl's house back in the 80s? Well, it was She-Ra, my girlfriend.
She-Ra was the only one that I didn't go over to when I did go over to the girls' house, it wasn't really to play with the toys. It was like pretty much to like play with them. But one of my mom's best friends like had like
it sounded weird in context. Never mind.
Well, no, I like going over to like Lauren McCroskey's house. We're like going outside playing on the swing set in the backyard and stuff like that, and flirting and stuff. But when I went over to my mom's friend's house, her two daughters were really big into She-Ra, and they had Mossman. It's the first time I ever saw Mossman in person. They had the Crystal Castle.
Why did they have Mossman?
I have no idea, but I was like, oh my God, they got Moss. And this was like, probably 88, 87, somewhere there, because I brought Evelyn over to play with them. And
I like playing Haunted House, where we'd get pitch black and then we'd have to find each other. That was fun when we'd go over. Yeah.
And Joe was like constantly pawing everybody. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, her. It was just there. We would play Haunted House to find each other in the dark. It was. God, I don't want to do this fucking dirty, but it was fun. Okay, let's see.
Mine was. Oh no, fuck me, Joe. I didn't. I never Nathan, played with girls' toys. No, that's fine. No, I would go over to my cousin's house a lot, and according to my mom, which I didn't really think about at all as it was happening, the answer to this would be Barbies. But a little side thing is my mom would say that my cousin's mother had always wanted a boy. So essentially whatever toys that I got, she would get too. So when I would go over there, it'd be sort of like the same stuff. Oh, she's got a Nintendo. Oh, she's got a Super Nintendo. Oh, here's a couple of boys' toys. But there were a few Barbies that she would have, and I would kind of play with them, and I would just be like, oh, these suck. And I would just be like, what else is going on? Or I would just bring my own toys and just sit off to the side.
That's kind of what you have to do. I would bring G.I. Joes and Ninja Turtles to church and just sit down in the pew and just play while the sermon's going on. Like, I'm not interested. I got a battle to take care of here. Then someone has to be cute, like, hey, what are you doing over here, little guy? I'm like, man, leave me alone. I got a battle going on here. I don't want to be.
Yeah, and then they're just like, by the way, you're going to hell.
Yeah, unfortunately, it wasn't that. They were just more about peeking over.
Playing in church, what a rotten little sumbitch.
Oh, me and my brother used to do it all the time. Like, it's like we're bored.
You're both rotten sumbitches then. All right, Mobile Recluse wanted to follow up. He said, sorry, had to correct myself. He said Mattel has this 12 days of fandom reveals. July 16th, and he says,
"Oh no!"
Hold on, he said July.
Tila is a doll. Evelyn is a doll.
Well, we'll see. He said it's July 16th is for Masters of the Universe. So I knew nothing about that. Thanks for at least informing. I had no clue.
Yeah, there will be nothing to interest us on that reveal.
Andy
maybe Joe.
Actually
If it's dirt cheap, Joe will buy it.
Yeah, I like dirt cheap stuff. Did I mention I got these for $1?
Free.
Yeah.
Free.
My neighbors Pam and Diana would trick their brother Joe and myself by saying, if you play Barbie with us for 1 hour, then we'll play He-Man with you for 1 hour. They didn't keep their promise. Yeah, I can imagine that, Andy. I can imagine doing a...
Never had that before, because I almost would prefer to play on my own anyway. I was never really big on like buddies coming over. Like, it was more like, who you got? Who you got? But then like, I don't want to play with you. I want to do my own thing.
Yeah, just found out that Sportimus is... Oh, go ahead, Nathan. Go on.
No, my mom would. My mom's told me stories about when like John would come over or anybody else would come over, and I would give them like the shittier toys. Like when I got those Troll Ninja Turtles. I would, like,
God! Give this to John.
Here, play with these. You're not playing with these. You can play with the shitty toys.
Well, as I say, your dynamic with John has just never changed. It's always been like, John, shut up. Yeah.
Sportimus was late to the party.
Okay.
Sportimus said, question, did you see the new Hallmark Castle Grayskull ornament?
Where you been, man?
Were you relate to this episode, man?
Yeah, that's how it started. Tyler had the Grayskull ornament. So
and I ate fucking butter and Reese's Pieces.
Yeah, watch it at the beginning. Oh,
gross.
By the way, somebody asked real early on, they said, you got a dislike from this episode? How did you get a dislike? It was when Nathan was eating the Reese's Pieces in the peanut butter. That's when it popped up. So thank me.
Well, see, that's your fault.
It may have been Michael. Michael probably gave us a dislike.
Yeah,
he would.
I don't know. We never have found anybody who. I mean, not that we get many dislikes, but we don't get too many negative comments. Like from the people that we get. If we get 3 dislikes, we don't get 3 like comments to say, you guys are so toxic, or I hate you guys. Like, it's always just like dislike, and I
think that it's always just it reaches a certain point, they hit dislike, and then go watch whatever.
Yeah, I'm sure they probably hated our progressive discussion on King Grayskull.
Thanks for the click. Thanks for the click.
Yeah.
Regardless.
It'd just be kind of like, well, why do you dislike us? Like, what did we say? Like, and it's like, I mean, we're not going to apologize for it, of course, but it's just
I don't care. It's probably for a dumb reason anyway.
Oh, it always is.
And one more question, I think, from Sportimus.
That's it? Just one? Come on, people.
Well, yeah, if you guys have more, go ahead, but I'll at least get to Sportimus's question. Said, what would you like to see from the Masterverse line that is not Revelation? Because remember, they did tell us.
I don't like this concept of Masterverse, which means multiple He-Man bullshit. No, I want one consistent line, much like I would like
Tapper's He-Man. Bring him on.
No, but if you could get one, Tyler, he was just saying, if you could get at least one that you would like to see in the Masterverse line.
But that's the thing. I don't want anything in that Masterverse line. They're clearly not putting out good sculpts already, so I want nothing to do with it. I want something that says, this is familiar, but different. Well,
in a perfect world, let's say that they had a good-looking face.
But I'm not buying anything in that Masterverse line. I'm buying something that Mattel's like, hey, what the hell are we doing here? We're pissing all over this property. Get someone with confidence.
I know what you mean there, but just to go along with this hypothetical, because, like, for me, if they did, like you said, a Malaktha or a Prince Daikon that actually looked good in a different line, sure, it'd be cool. So he's just wanting a hypothetical. If you could have
in a different line, or I'm forced to pick a character I like that has to have a peanut head and a shitty body.
Well, let's say he didn't have the peanut head. Let's say he actually had a proportionate head.
Mossman didn't have a peanut head.
Well, but then they're going to have like a design that Rob David approved and shit, too. My God. Well, Clam Champ didn't look offensive in the show, in the trailer that we saw, but the toy would probably come out looking like he's got the head, like a dime and, just disproportionate. But I would hope Clamp Champ, just for my appreciation of the character, my love for the character, I won't buy it, but I really, I mean, because it's not going to be good. It's not going to be any good. If they couldn't get Origins right, what the hell do you think they're going to get this Masterverse version of Clamp Champ? Or they're going to fuck him like they fucked everybody else.
Well, you know what? At least Faker in Origins looks okay.
Huh? You said Origins. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said. I
thought you meant like the Masterverse.
No. I don't like the idea of that one really at all.
God, that shows you how lazy they were with that one. It's like, well, blue skin, that's kind of lame, don't you think? That's not progressive. But God.
Well, he's got to blend in so you can trick everybody to really think that
people. If they have to question the blue skin, then they don't have no business collecting the line or showing interest in it. If you're going to be that cynical about it, say this is stupid. Go watch your, fucking whatever.
You don't.
Well, here's the last question.
Go watch your Grey's Anatomy and drink your Starbucks.
Yeah.
Fucking.
One more question.
Or watch Two Broke Girls, that piece of shit show with that Kat Dennings. My God.
That's not on anymore.
I know it's not, but that's a show that I hate with a passion.
I like looking at her though. She
sucks. Everything she does, oh my God! I'm like, oh, what? Fuck you.
Yeah. Let's see.
Sorry, but I'm sorry, but can you give me something else to work with? Like when he says Masterverse, like I don't want anything in I want that line to fail because they'll stop making them.
Well, here's another one. K-Mation said if we had control over the classics line, how would we like to present it to people like now? Because it would be cool. Like, could you imagine like all the great figures that we had, but being at retail now at a lower price?
Re-release them again. Just be like, hey, you guys didn't know this existed. You missed out the first time. Here you go.
And that's our chance to get the newer characters that we haven't got yet. But yeah, these suckers are so fucking expensive on eBay that it'd be a pleasure to have them back in the stores for $19.99 a piece. Like, sure, fucking do it. It'd be great. I'm sure they still.
I would buy them all for Bryant. I'd help Nathan get characters he didn't get. I would be in full support, even though I own every one of those over here. And if it meant like if the initial release of like He-Man, Man-at-Arms, Skeletor, Beastman, Evil Antilla, that's where we're starting off with. Like I get why they're doing it, but I would support it because the figures are of top tier quality. Yes, I already own them. Is it boring that I can't get them again? Yes, but I would not argue that because I know like Nathan comes along. It was a big journey for him to get those. I'd buy them for my nephew, his cousin. I'd buy them for him too. Yeah, I mean,
Still can't get over the prices. God.
Yeah,
it's scary. It's ridiculous, and that's why I feel sorry for fans now who are getting back into it or jumping on the bandwagon now, and all they've got is Masterverse and Origin shitty head sculpts and paying out the ass for the scalpers.
Pee, but I think it's almost that time. Next week's
going to be there's no other questions in there? I like.
Well, there's one more questions, but it's going to be about another figure, and I think you might lose your shit. Question and answer from Johnny Cock. If you had to change the engineering style of the Masters of the Universe line to another line that has existed that's not Masters of the Universe line up to the year 2000, what would you choose? He said, for example, Masters of the Universe in 3 3/4 G.I. Joe style.
3 3/4 would be a great way to go.
That'd be my first go-to also, yeah.
Cheap, affordable, hasn't been done, really.
I do them all like this, $1. This is Joe Model's price. I can get them at the Dollar Tree, $1. Do it like that. I'd be good to go. So, if you are new to this channel, make sure you like, subscribe, share, and ring that bell so you can always be notified when we go live. And until next time, have a powerful day.
Oh, yeah, I made Ralph fuck you because it makes me feel good.
Wow.
Neither one of you guys. No, you guys and no one in the chat room is going to get it. It's a funny line, and I just wanted to say it. So I don't anticipate anyway. Don't even try because no one's going to get it.
Say it again.
All right.
He's having a hell of a time doing this, composing himself.
I'm surprised he got it out the first time.
Oh, yeah, I made Ralph fuck you because it makes me feel good.
I don't see anybody.
I got nothing.
Well, of course, that's why I said no one's going to get it. It's not. It's it's a very popular film, but it's not like I'm quoting Big Trouble in Little China or something like that either.
Oh, here's one last question for you, Tyler. It was from Papa Huds. Apparently, I missed this. I didn't see it. I'm sorry, Papa Huds, but I got it right now. He said, Tyler, a few episodes ago, you said Darth Vader wasn't a part of the 80s villain lineup. Why is that?
Because, Star Wars, and I don't... Darth Vader is a movie villain, from a 70s film that, from films in, the 80s as well. But when I think 80s villains, I never think Vader, And when people do, like, fan art and they do Megatron, Shredder, Skeletor, Mum-Ra, and they'll throw Darth Vader, and they're like, Darth Vader doesn't fit in that top tier line. He's a movie villain, and he's in 2 very popular, legendary 80s films, of course, but I don't lump him in the same category as Skeletor, Megatron, Shredder, Mum-Ra, Tex-Hex. He just doesn't fit that. All those characters, they all have the same, background. They're all villains from top tier 80s animated shows. Darth Vader is not that. He's a villain from a trilogy of films. That's why I'm like, they don't fit. They were in the 80s together, yeah, but, I can't put the Beast from Krull next to Skeletor, even though they're both fantasy properties, like, they don't fit.
He was always kind of like an anti-hero to me, just like Jason Voorhees was. I never looked at Jason as a bad guy.
What? Don't say that Darth Vader's an anti-hero there.
Yeah, I liked him. I always liked Darth Vader.
I like Darth Vader
he had his redemption at the end.
He
had his redemption at the end. So yes, so at the end when he had his redemption and what he did,
you're not going to call him an anti-hero. Jason's not an anti-hero either.
Jason, the poor guy, he's seen his mother get killed. The only person that ever loved him and everything. He's seen those little fucking kids. So he's a hero. He's getting rid of all these rotten ass little kids.
It's against the law to kill people, put an axe in their head, even if they probably deserve it.
Yeah, but see, I kind of agree with Joe on the aspect that I'm with Jason in my mind these days being the hero of those films because teenagers are very annoying.
Well, yeah, especially if you look at a lot of in the films. Yes, but when I watch it,
and
Jason...
besides, when people are going to the movies to see these things, are they rooting for the teenagers?
No. Yes, I understand that, but I also feel like they are cheering for the villain. Because if he really was an anti-hero, I think that would change the dynamic of the entire film. Like he'd be going after drug dealers. He'd be going after, like the Punisher.
He got drug dealers in Part 8. He got drug dealers, so Jason is the hero. He's the best guy. I love you all. See you next time.
Wait, we didn't know where the quote was from, Joe. What are you doing? He's really got a piss.
Argument. You're not going to go take a piss here. You called on the thunder. Well, now you got it here. I'm not letting you go with that. You go piss your pants. Get yourself a bedpan or a beer bottle or something like that to piss in,
And he killed
What-
Dr. Cruz, that asshole, that sumbitch that was manipulating Tina, that fucking rotten sumbitch. Jason
Yeah,
killed
but
him too.
that's a kill that the audience
What'd you
wants
say
to
the
see.
quote
But he's
was?
still a villain, though. And the quote came from Heat. Al Pacino says it to his third wife.
Ah, yeah, nobody watch that. All right, see you guys next
Of course, yeah.
Bye.
Jerk off.
Fuckers.
I can just have this sit live, and then maybe Joe will just piss his pants.
Yeah.
To the